And tonight, our city is Foxborough and Gillette Stadium as the fireworks go off to set off our Thursday night telecast. It's the New York Jets and the New England Patriots in an AFC East battle. And we welcome you to Foxborough, everybody. Brad Nessler and Mike Mayock. Alex Flanagan will join us momentarily. This is the first of our 13 Thursday night games. We start in the AFC East. We end in mid-December with the Denver Broncos in the AFC West and Peyton Manning. Well, both these teams are 1-0. They struggled, but they won last week. And it was a costly win for the Patriots. Danny Amendola, the leading receiver with 10 catches last week off Tom Brady. He also doesn't have Shane Vereen, his main man, out of the backfield. And you add that to Rob Gronkowski, who's still out with an injury. And that leaves the core depleted, my friend. And partner, you always say next man up. Well, definitely there's going to have to be a few guys up tonight.
The good news is number 12 is still here. Tom Brady, what I think is going to happen tonight is he's going to want to spread the field and get into that New York Jets defensive backfield. That's the weak link. Now, a week ago, Julian Edelman, 7 receptions, 2 for touchdowns. I fully expect the Jets to try and take him out of the game by double teaming in key situations. What's that mean? Well, 2 rookies are really going to have to step up. Aaron Dobson, first time ever activated in the NFL. Long, tough kid's going to have to create separation and make plays, but I think the key is Kenbrell Tompkins. 14 targets a week ago, only 4 catches. Tom Brady likes this kid, but he's got to be more physical at the line of scrimmage, and if he is, Tom will find him.
Geno Smith, the rookie quarterback for the Jets, makes his first road game appearance as a starter, and you can debate whether or not he won this by default because of Sanchez's shoulder injury or not, but he's 1-0. He played pretty well last week.
Yeah, and let's not forget, they're a little depleted also. Jeremy Curley out. Santonio Holmes, minimal practice snaps. I was impressed with Geno last week. Now, tonight, he needs to do 2 things. Number 1 is ball security. He put the ball on the ground 32 times at West Virginia, turned it over twice last week. And secondly, there's an old adage. Geno's got to use his legs, so either the ball comes out, Geno, or you got to get out. Because if you sit in the pocket, Bill Belichick's defense will eat you alive.
And he knows that. He was a leading rusher last week, too, and they've got to get some help in the backfield for him. Before we kick off, check in with the third member of our team, Alex Flanagan. Alex?
Hey, Brad and Michael. Here's what's different for Tom Brady this season. He told me this week that he can no longer go into the huddle and yell things out like he used to be able to when he had veterans like Wes Welker and Deion Branch, because a lot of his weapons now are still mastering the Patriots' plays. The key tonight is being able to run the Patriots' sophisticated offense while simplifying it. Brady tells me that you can't crush a young player's confidence, but they need to understand the sense of urgency. And Brad and Mike, with all of those injuries, you would expect that those young players do need to play tonight with a sense of urgency.
And Tom knows that experience is the key factor. But as Alex was talking about, he knows that those young guys have a job to do, whether they're experienced or not. New York won the toss, and they deferred. So LeClaire Blount will be back deep with Matthew Slater and Nick Folk to get our Thursday night underway. And he's going to bring it out. LeGarrette Blount, the big guy on the return. He's going to get close to the 20-yard line, maybe right at the 20. So that's where Tom Brady and the Patriots will start. 49 straight games with a touchdown pass. He went over the 45,000-yard mark in the win last week over Buffalo.
Some of his numbers, Brad, are just so overwhelming you almost can't even focus in on them. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's the bottom line.
He's got his work cut out for him tonight with some new faces in familiar places. That's Edelman in motion, and Brady's looking that way. And the quick slants to Edelman on the run. And he gets out to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 6. Let's take a look at our difference makers tonight for the Patriots. Stephen Ridley has got to hold on to the ball. And Kenbrell Tompkins, Mike's already talked about what he needs to do tonight. Defensively, a couple of big guys, Mike.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's the key to their defense. 2 former first-round picks who can push the pocket from the inside.
Second down and a long 3, and Brady's going to go deep, but his receiver broke off the pattern, and now there's a flag down.
Now Calvin Pace got a hit. Now remember, the way the referees judge whether or not there's unnecessary roughness on a quarterback is whether or not they think it's an avoidable hit.
Number 31 defense. First down.
Well, they're going to get Cromartie, huh? Now Pace is going to... You can see there's the push right there in the hold. That's an easy call. The question was whether or not it's catchable. And then here comes the hit. That's clearly a clean hit. They can't have Pace or anybody else coming free like that and hitting Tom Brady.
So Brady pays the price for the penalty, but it is a first down. And now they go to the ground, and out to midfield is Ridley. David Harris made the stop for the Jets.
You mentioned Ridley as a difference maker, Brad, and one of the keys here is he put the ball on the ground twice last week against Buffalo. Look at this. Here comes that hurry-up offense, 89 snaps a week ago.
And the hurry-up will stop right there. And the flag was thrown in the secondary.
There's no foul for 12 players on the field.
So that's got Rex Ryan excited already.
James Devlin, a fullback down at the bottom.
And they go to Edelman again. Julian Edelman. We're going to see a lot of him tonight. Caught 7 passes, 2 for touchdowns. Last week picks up 8 there.
Yeah, he just ran away from the safety there, Antonio Allen, and I think the safeties are their weak links in coverage.
So first down at Jets territory at the 47. Nice play fake by Brady. Now
Double move.
Fake, and now long ball. Had his man out there, and Edelman had half a step on Cromartie, but it's overthrown.
Double move, and that's how you beat Cromartie. He's a long corner. You want to make him change direction as much as possible. Watch Edelman squat, in and out. That's a slant and go called a sluggo. It's cleanly a win for Edelman, and uncharacteristically for that guy, he knows he missed it.
So second down and 10 for the Patriots on their opening drive. Again, helped by a pass interference penalty.
Jaguar, come on.
52.
High backfield, Ridley the tailback, and he'll follow the fullback and busts through the line and gets to the second level and still on his feet. Inside the 40 to the 39 goes Ridley.
And we started to talk about this kid and how important he is. Put the ball on the ground twice last week. They're going back to the right side here. That's an outside zone. Good block by the fullback, Devlin. Ridley drops the pad level and keeps going. And remember, Brad, last year in the AFC Championship game, he had a key fumble against Baltimore. So right now with this kid, it's ball security.
Nice play fake and over the top and wide open and down the sideline. Aaron Dobson, touchdown.
They get under center and make it look like run. And nobody's better than Tom Brady at the play action fake.
So one of the new faces in a new place in the end zone, and Dobson.
There's Dobson on a tight wing, heavy play action fake. The Jets bite. Look at all this here. Jets bite.
Tom Brady couldn't wait to get rid of that football. He knew it was there.
How'd you like to be that kid? First reception in an NFL uniform, and it's a touchdown from Tom Brady.
Rookie out of Marshall. And the extra point. Gostkowski in to make it 7-0 New England. Tom Brady meets his rookie with a big hug. Patriots in front by a touchdown. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by the Volkswagen Passat. That's the power of German engineering. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Well, it didn't take the Patriots long to score. 81 yards in 6 plays.
And check this out. 3 tackles in the game. Marcus Cannon, the normal tackle over here, and their Solder over here. And they're going to run play action. There's not a defensive back on that half of the field. So there's a bust by the Jets in their alignment because the Patriots had 3 tackles in the game and they made no adjustment whatsoever.
And as Mike said, first career catch, touchdown. Clyde Gates will watch this one go to the back of the end zone, catch it one-handed and take a knee. So now Geno Smith, the rookie quarterback out of West Virginia, takes center stage. Second round pick. A lot of people thought maybe he'd go higher, Mike.
I think Geno was one of them. And there was a lot of talk about him as a potential top 10 pick. And when we spoke with him yesterday in our meeting, he talked about the frustration of going through the draft process, how difficult it was to think you're going to be a top 10 guy and ultimately go in the second round.
As you saw, led the team with over 250 yards throwing and also rushing. First time that's happened since 1943 for a rookie. He's got plenty of time. Crossing route incomplete. Intended for Stephen Hill. And so he had plenty of time to throw that as we take a look at our difference makers tonight for the New York Jets. Santonio Holmes and Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill, that pass a little bit in front of him, but he's got great speed. And Santonio Holmes has been quiet. Defensively, one of the guys that'll be chasing those two is Aqib Talib. And then Big Vince Wilfork on the inside to stop the ground game. And a nice run out to the 25 by Powell as he picks up 5.
Really good job by the right side of the line. Willie Colon. Watch Colon get the block here, and then Mangold get up to the second level. And all Bilal Powell has to do on this zone track is cut back because the backside contain's not there, and it's an easy pickup of 5 to 6 yards. And that's going to be a key tonight, whether or not the Jets can get the run game going.
Kellen Winslow is in at tight end. He was a big part of Geno Smith's offense last week as he caught 7 passes. Empty backfield for Smith. He's going to go deep down the sideline and just overshot Powell. It'll be incomplete, and the Jets will have to give it up.
They got the matchup they wanted. They got a running back, Bilal Powell, on a linebacker, Dante Hightower. And a good, clean release. Clearly, the running back wins. An accurate throw is a big play for the Jets. That's the kind of play that's a wide open window in the NFL, and you have to take advantage of it.
Robert Malone to punt. Edelman waits on the other end.
Let him go.
End over end kick. Edelman's trying to clear everybody out of the way. Takes a nice bounce for the Jets and comes out to rest at about the 24-yard line. So 51-yard punts. Tom Brady almost perfect the first time out. He's got another chance when we come back. Coming up on Tuesday, Darrelle Revis was the ultimate lockdown defender until a devastating injury. Now he's got to prove he's still on top of his game. It's an all-new A Football Life. Darrelle Revis, Tuesday at 9 Eastern, only on NFL Network. He looked pretty good again with Tampa last week, former Jet.
Yeah, Ness, and I would tell you that if his career continues the way it started and he stays healthy for the next 4 or 5 years, he's a Rod Woodson to me. He's a first-time Hall of Famer if he continues to stay healthy and play well.
Speaking of health, you saw Dan Connolly over on the sideline, veteran right guard. They were working on his left index finger. Tom Brady on first down and goes to the sideline, incomplete. Ken Bell Tompkins was the closest person to the football, let's put it that way.
The Jets are having a lot of problems getting lined up because of the personnel grouping of the Patriots. They've got James Devlin, who's a linebacker that from Brown University, who's now a fullback, and they've got a tight end in the game, Humana Wanui, and they're struggling with all of that.
56! Back there, watch
Edelman's been the main target so far for Brady, and he's to the bottom of your screen. And LeGarrette Blount got about 3 off the left side. Demario Davis made the stop.
We've got Marcus Cannon in the game right now, who's really an interesting kid, and we just showed you the picture of Dan Connolly on the sideline. Cannon can play guard or tackle. He's in at right guard right now. 5th-round pick that when he came out of TCU had a disease that pushed people away from him. Probably a 1st or 2nd-round talent the Pats got in the 5th round.
3rd down at 7 for the Patriots. Quick throw by Brady. Got it out to Edelman, trying to break tackles. Broke the first one, but not the second. And they'll come up short. It'll be 4th down, and the Patriots will have to punt.
And that's a win for the Jets defense right there. They brought pressure. They forced the ball out quickly, and you rally up and make a tackle.
So Ryan Allen, the rookie punter out of Louisiana Tech, 2-time Ray Guy Award winner, set to kick it away to Kyle Wilson. Bill Belichick has always had left-footed punters. Isn't that amazing? 14 years of left-footed punters.
Yeah, it spins differently. He wants to force guys to catch it a different way.
Spins down to a fair catch for Wilson inside the 20-yard line. The Jets and the Patriots in the AFC East battle, and the Jets will have their second crack at it offensively when we come back. Full day of football Sunday on NFL Network, starting off at 7 o'clock in the morning, leading you up. NFL Game Day morning. We'll get you to the kickoff after the afternoon games, game day highlights, and then following the Sunday night game, NFL Game Day final all day long on NFL Network. Second Jets possession. Geno Smith fires. Caught all the way out near midfield, and the ball comes out. Fumbled and picked up by Devin McCourty. McCourty down the sideline. Works his way inside the 15, still on his feet. All the way, it's 1st and goal, New England.
And I think that's going to be a catch and a fumble, and it'll be reviewed automatically because it's a turnover. Stephen Hill has got to secure the football. He beats Aqib Talib. It's going to come from the right side of the screen. There's Talib right there. He's going to run over top. The ball's thrown beautifully, and he's got the ball clearly, and I believe it's out before he gets down. Let's see, this is a good angle right here. Clearly a catch. The ball swinging wide, not against the body.
We said he'd be a difference maker. That's
There
not
it
the
is.
kind of difference he wanted to make tonight.
And clearly the football out. I was at training camp. He drops the ball way too much. Marty Morningwing's trying to calm him down right now. He's a talented kid that's got to hold on to that ball.
Patriots 1st and goal. Brady off play action from the 8. Fires end zone. Tipped. Incomplete. Edelman was the intended receiver.
Kembrell Tompkins was held that time by Cromartie, who does a really nice job holding and getting away from things. Bottom of the screen. And you can see the ball's thrown away. Antonio Allen with good coverage on Edelman.
4 down.
It's 2nd and goal. Ridley in the backfield, and he'll get the call. Dancing his way up the middle and then powering his way down inside the 3. Good run. You mentioned earlier he had 3 fumbles. Over the course of 3 years, he's had 5 fumbles, and you know how many carries he's had in games after those fumbles? 1. 1.
I played for Bill Belichick, and I can pretty much tell you that if you're going to put the ball on the ground, you're not going to get a lot of reps. If you're a litter bug, you don't play for Bill Belichick.
So it's 3rd and goal. The Patriots trying to take advantage of the fumble recovery in return.
And Connolly is back in the game at right guard. He's changing it.
Edelman's in the slot. Brady looked his way and now throws it away. Good job by the Jets defense.
Yeah, David Harris did a really nice job walling off Edelman. And we talked in the open, Brad,
Number
about
77, offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
They decline the penalty, and they'll bring out the field goal unit.
Yeah, they got Nate Solder holding McIntyre that time, but we talked in the open about, in key situations, double teaming Edelman, and that's what happened there. They had an in and out bracket coverage, and that's who Brady wanted.
So Gostkowski comes in to try a 21-yard field goal. Last week he had the 35-yard game winner. This one's right down the middle. So a costly fumble. Stephen Hill had the reception, lost the ball, and that turned into McCourty's return and subsequently the field goal. Got a penalty marker down on the extra point. I think it's a false start if I'm getting what Carl Chevers is trying to tell us, and that means they're going to have to kick it again.
Illegal formation on the defense. That penalty's declined. The field goal is good.
All right, so it was a defensive penalty. And declined. Stephen Hill's fumble turns into a Patriot field goal, 10-0. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. and by Madden NFL 25, a season 25 years in the making. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan back at Gillette Stadium, where the Patriots took advantage of the fumble recovery. They did have it first and goal at the 8-yard line and had to settle for the field goal, but they lead 10-0.
And that was a big stop by the Jets defense. And now Geno Smith has got to come out and take advantage of it. You know, New England's running a lot of plays as usual, Brad. People were buzzing about Philly the other night, but New England ran 89 offensive snaps last week.
Now the Patriots have 3 times as many plays as the Jets so far here in the early going. And they'll have to start from the 20-yard line again. Let's check in with Alex.
Well, Brad, you talk about the Patriots and their tempo. The Jets came into this game saying that last week they weren't fast enough. They wanted to come out and start this game really fast, which they haven't been able to do. But Geno Smith, if you watch him on the sidelines, his demeanor remains pretty calm and steady, and that's the one thing that his teammates tell me, that the kid doesn't get really rattled. We talk about the Patriots and kind of all of the youth and inexperience that Tom Brady's throwing to, but the fact of the matter is that Geno Smith hasn't had a whole lot of reps with his guys either, Brad.
No doubt. After the injury in the preseason and sharing reps with Mark Sanchez, that kind of limits how many reps you do get. And I think with that in mind, he was out here throwing about 2.5 hours before the game.
And when we met with Marty Morningwig, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, remember we said, well, how do you make up for the lack of reps in the short week? He said, hey, I'm meeting with him at 8 o'clock tonight.
That's right.
And he had him out 2.5 hours before the game. And there's not enough time in the day to get Geno the reps he needs right now.
Powell and Ivory will flank him in the shotgun here on 2nd down and 6. And a little option. And Geno is going to lose yardage. Staying at home and making the play. Rob Ninkovich.
Now, they weren't a big zone read team at West Virginia, but watch Hightower. In today's NFL, if you're going to do this, they're going to try and hit you. Geno doesn't pitch it. Now, Ninkovich stays home on the backside, makes the tackle. That is really good team defense. Geno probably should have pitched it early. You don't want to be taking hits.
And now he'll probably have to pitch it overhand. 3rd down and 7. And an empty backfield. Patriots bring an extra rusher. Smith stands in, got belted, but he got the pass to Santonio Holmes. Wow. Really took a shot, and I think we're going to have a roughing the passer on top. Chandler Jones leveled Smith when he let go of the football.
Roughing the passer, number 95, defense. For contact above the shoulders. That 15-yard penalty will be after the end of the play, automatic first down.
Now, you're going to see what's called a robber coverage, deep middle, inside. They're going to invite him to throw the ball inside. However, I love the way he steps in, takes the hit, and delivers the ball outside to Santonio Holmes. Now, the quarterback protected in the pocket. The hit zone is from below the neck to above the knees. You cannot hit him above the shoulders. Clearly, at least one man did, and that's a good call.
Right in the chin, basically. So he took a shot downfield. He took a shot after he threw that ball downfield. And when you add it all up, it's the Jets' first down at the Patriots' 35-yard line.
Yeah, and that's a big-time throw now.
Here's Chris Ivory weaving his way through traffic in his best run of the season. Nets another New York first down. We said that they needed help in the backfield tonight, that Geno Smith couldn't be their leading rusher, and both Powell now and Ivory doing a better job.
Yeah, and Tommy Bohannon, the rookie fullback from Wake Forest, did a great job of sealing backside. And, you know, Ness, I love the acquisition of Chris Ivory.
Yeah.
You know, they lost Joe McKnight, they lost Sean Green, and this is a downhill thumper, but you got to feed him a little bit.
Well, over his time in New Orleans, he's averaged over 5 yards a carry. He got 10 there. Almost 11. They'll feed him again. And Ivory again to the 20. Steve Gregory from the secondary made the first contact.
Yeah, and big bodies pushing the pocket. Big Vladimir Dukas, the 4th-year player from UMass, and left tackle DeBrickashaw Ferguson did a nice job. And Gregory's still down. I don't know if he can stay in the football game. He just got up, and they're going to take him out. He looks shaken up to me.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of depth with these safeties now. That's another position that New England has struggled with for several years now. The rookie, Deron Harmon from Rutgers, the 3rd-round pick, is in for Gregory.
2nd down and 6. Ivory Wolfark had him, and he got away, and he's going to be close to another first down. So some tough running by Chris Ivory.
Yeah, Big Vince jumped around the pulling right tackle, Austin Howard. Howard's going to pull, and Vince is going to run around him. I think what Vince should have done is stuck 350 pounds right into his jaw and blow that thing up. But a good job by Ivory, and when he drops that pad level, it's pretty good.
Big third down here, third and less than one. Cumberland and Kellen Winslow, both tight ends in there. Ivory, he's got it easily. So the Jets with an impressive drive here, trying to answer the opening 10 points by New England.
And Ness, you're right. And I think if you're a Jets fan, you're down 10-0 early, and there's a tendency with a rookie quarterback to panic. What I like is that offensive line is stabilizing some things. They're running the football. They're getting the push. The Patriots gave up a lot of rush yards last week, but the key to this drive so far has been the big pass by Geno Smith to Santonio Holmes.
Ivory's already got more yards in this quarter than he had all of last week, and now they're going to give the fullback a handle. Down to the 9 goes Bohannon, the rookie out of Wake Forest that Mike just talked about a moment ago.
Yeah, he was an interesting kid at Wake Forest. Tight end, fullback, all over the place. The Jets are deploying him in similar fashions, and a nice tackle that time by Hightower.
9th play of the Jets drive upcoming.
And Brad, you hear me say this all, we get in the red zone now, you got to convert touchdowns.
Right.
And that's something the Patriots didn't do last week. The Jets need touchdowns here, not field goals.
Empty backfield for Geno Smith. He hasn't aimed a pass at either of his tight ends so far tonight.
Right down, oh man.
Flushed and throws wide side. Let's see, out of bounds. And it was Kellen Winslow.
Wow, did he have Stephen Hill? You beg for this guy to crack motion and come right down the seam, and you beg that it's open. Watch it. It opens up right there. Oh, man, and Geno doesn't see it, and he's getting out of the pocket more quickly than he needed to there. Brad, that's a rookie deal right there. The pocket was fine. If Geno hangs in that pocket and makes his reads, that's a touchdown.
So far, they're 2 out of 2 on third down conversions on this drive. Big one here. They can get a first down just outside the 1. 3rd and 7 for the Jets. Smith, this time he does stay in the pocket. And now scrambles, fires. And was it trapped or caught? No official word yet. Wow. Clyde Gates is on the bottom of that pile. It's a touchdown. Wow. Well, it took a while, but we got a call.
And my internal clock was telling me that Geno Smith should have run the football, taken the short run and tried to get the first down. But give the kid credit. He hung in there, kept his eyes down the field, and made a play.
Running to his left, firing back across his body. And Gates actually in a hand fight with Gerard Mayo on the bottom of that pile in the end zone. There's a pretty good look right there. And now did the ball come out? Now they're going to take a look at this one.
Yeah, question here where that ball pops out.
Again, once that ball kind of popped in the air, it was a hand fight between Mayo and Gates right there.
Right. And remember, when you go to the ground, you've got to control that thing all the way through the ground. But he's in the end zone. Does he control it long enough?
We'll let you know.
I don't know.
When we come back. Called a touchdown on the field. This play's been under review on Gates, whether it was a catch or not, Mike.
Now it's in the end zone. He's going to the ground. He's got to, and there comes the football right there loose. He's got to control it through the ground. And if the ball hit the ground anywhere there, and we couldn't tell, we clearly saw the ball come loose. Look at him, he's looking for it. Going to the ground, you've got to control it through the process. Now let's see if it pops. It looks like it's rolling on the ground to me, and there's a pop. Neither hand has a
After
football.
review, the receiver did not have control of the ball.
Good call.
It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 4-7 on the 9.5-yard line. Jets hack.
So instead of a touchdown, it's 4th down and 7.
Yeah, and that's the right call. Some really good camera work in there to see that pop loose. Clyde Gates has to make that play, another young player.
So Nick Folk, who was out there to try the extra point, will stay out there to try the field goal. Disappointing for the Jets, but obviously a good-looking drive to, they hope now, end up with at least 3.
And how about Geno on that drive? Takes a big hit, makes a play down the field, and then extends it what looked like a touchdown pass, but Gates didn't come up with it.
So it'll be a 27-yard field goal attempt. And folks got it. So just a little over 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Number 88, offense.
Whoop, wait a minute.
Penalty. Repeat 4th down.
Well, it's getting harder on them, that's for sure.
I think it was Conrad Rowland, the second-year tight end out of Stanford. Rex not real happy, obviously. The right side. There's the hold up around, clearly up around the face mask. Their job is to take away the inside rusher and then hinge back outside, but you can't get the hands up high like that.
The last thing you want to do is almost have a touchdown and then miss a field goal. But Folk is true with that one as well, this time from 37. So a little over 4 minutes remaining. Geno Smith hanging tough, led his team down to 3, 10-3 Patriots. Mark Sanchez on the right, Matt Sims behind him, and Geno Smith with Marty Morningwagon. Brady Quinn to the left, by the way, so all the quarterbacks are around the offensive coordinator. Everybody trying to help out number 7.
Yeah, and I think the Sanchez conversation is interesting. Obviously, Geno had a poor week 3 preseason game. Didn't look ready to play. Sanchez came in and got hurt. A lot of controversy about whether or not he should have been in the game. End result is he's injured, and to be honest with you, if this quarterback, this young kid, can play like he did last week, it's his job to lose.
And the kick will go out of the back of the end zone. So the Patriots will bring it out with Tom Brady and company at the 20-yard line.
Now, I think Sanchez talked to Rich Eisen today and basically said, hey, I won the job. And I'm going to tell you, there's a new GM in town named John Izek, and he drafted this kid in the 2nd round. And if you can get some growing pains this year with this kid and grow with these young receivers and this offensive line, you want him to be your quarterback.
And there's talk with Mark Sanchez whether or not he's going to have surgery on the shoulder, and there's debate going both ways about whether he'll try to rehab it or he'll have season-ending surgery on his throwing shoulder. Ridley, nice run. He's holding on to the football tonight so far. Picks up 7.
Yeah, I really like the cut he made off Sebastian Vollmer. And if you're going to run zone and you're running this track right here, okay, you've got 2 tackles on the right side. 76, Vollmer does a nice job. And now look at him make the read, and he's going to understand that if he stays to the right of Vollmer and drops his pad level, he picks up 7 or 8 yards.
And a 2nd down and 3, and now it's Edelman on the end around. Can he get to the corner? Just enough for the 1st down. Being chased by DeJuan Landry out of bounds, but he does pick up a 1st down by about a half yard.
And the Landry kid is kind of interesting. I remember talking to Rex last night, and I was at the pro day at South Carolina with Rex when he was watching this kid. And Rex told us candidly last night, what did he say, Ness? The worst safety pro day he ever saw.
Right, yep.
The kid ran poorly, didn't run well in defensive back drills, but Rex said, hey, but you put the tape on, and he's one of the toughest kids he ever saw. Hence, a draft pick.
This one, the outstretched arms of Edelman not long enough to haul in that Tom Brady pass.
And Tom's staring him down a little bit. There's a disconnect there between Edelman, because Edelman sat it down and Tom took him to the sideline. Tom expected him to continue the route, and they're having a conversation right there now.
Tom Brady, doesn't matter who it is, you get that stare. And you know he's right, at least 95% of the time. He's only hit one of his last 5 passes.
4 down, they're both down.
Leon Washington flanks him in the shotgun here. Play fake, quick throw, Tompkins, and he's close to a first down. He thinks he's got it, but I think he's a little bit short.
How about the story on this kid, huh? Kenbrell Tompkins, undrafted rookie free agent out of Cincinnati. Several arrests by the time he's 19,
Yep.
Several colleges and junior colleges, doesn't get drafted although he's a gifted kid, and became the sensation of this training camp. Tom Brady's favorite receiver.
Ridley, he stood up before he can get to the first down marker. Nice job by the Jets. David Harris was the first guy there.
And the Jets are having problems getting lined up. But Demario Davis that time came in late and did a phenomenal job. I mean, Davis came in on 3rd and 1 and stuffed the guard tackle. Watch Davis come over right here. There's the jab. He gets on Marcus Cannon and makes the tackle. That's a heck of a job of the second-year player out of Arkansas State.
Rex Ryan just beams when he talks about him. Deep kick. Wilson's got to let it bounce, and it makes the end zone. A 60-yard punt. So after that opening drive by the Patriots, they haven't shown much. They do have a touchdown lead, however. And now the Jets, who covered 61 yards to get their field goal, back out there.
I think the Jets had some early problems, Brad, identifying the personnel grouping with Devlin and Humana Wanui in there, which is something I didn't expect, and the Jets certainly didn't either. And now that they've identified it and taken care of it with their base defense, they look a lot more solid.
Saw Santonio Holmes kind of looking as if he was supposed to be in on this first down play. He is in the slot. And they throw complete to Kellen Winslow, who was Geno Smith's favorite target a week ago. But Duron Harmon, the rookie, is right there to meet him.
And from a draft perspective, this Harmon kid was almost off the radar. And a bunch of teams had to go into Rutgers because they had several draftable players, including a corner that the Patriots drafted named Logan Ryan. Now, Logan Ryan was on every team's radar, and the Patriots came away so convinced that Harmon was a good player, they took him in the 3rd round.
And here he is now because Steve Gregory's out with an injury earlier. Ivory, little delay, and then Power runs his way out to the 27.
Yeah, ran through the tackle of Spikes. And Brad, we had a fun conversation with Vince Wilfork the other day, didn't we, about the Miami and Florida rivalry?
Absolutely. And Big Vince said he could finally take the dust off his orange and green Miami cap and wear it around and kind of give Brandon Spikes and some of those guys the business after Miami.
He said he had some fun and he needed to thank Al Golden for that, the way he's getting that program turned around.
Big 3rd down here for the Jets, and the Patriots fans know it. Final half minute of the first quarter. Winslow in motion toward the ball. Smith going to flare it out to Stephen Hill, and did he get enough? It'll be about a half-yard short, I think, stretching out that 6'4" frame, but they spotted a little bit short.
And the Jets doing a nice job also moving around some of their chess pieces. Watch where Hill lines up right here, kind of hiding. Arrington's got him man-to-man. Good job by Hightower bumping him on the way out. And then you got a little man on a big man. Advantage Hill as he tries to drag him to the first down marker, and it's close.
And the first quarter will come to a close. Good one here in Foxborough. Tom Brady took the Patriots right down the field on the opening march for a score. The Jets, though, answered with a field goal, 10-3. Set to start the second quarter in Foxborough. The hometown Patriots in front by 7. There's Mark Sanchez on the sideline still trying to help the cause. He's been involved both weeks trying to help number 7. And Rex threw a challenge on the spot of that football. He wants a first down. He's still got his offense out there.
The Jets are challenging the ruling on the field that the spot is short of the first down. We'll review the play.
We mentioned that Hill tried to stretch out. The 30 is the first down marker.
He's still up. He's still up. His knee is on top of a body. I mean, it helps that his knee is on top of Arrington So it's kind of the right elbow there. And where's the football? Now, from that angle, it's difficult to tell, which is why these are difficult to win when you challenge them, because if you don't have an angle right down the line, it's very difficult to figure it out. So his lower body is on top of the leg of Arrington, but the knee's down there. If we replay that one again, I think you're going to see that knee right there, and I think that's way short because that's before the elbow goes down.
So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Rex Ryan wins this. If not, loses a timeout and the challenge is gone.
Is Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator?
Youngest defensive coordinator in the NFL, as a matter of fact, turning 39 tomorrow. Hey, next week we hope you join us. Alex Smith's already made a difference in the Kansas City Chiefs. LaShawn McCoy had 184 yards on the ground, and the Eagles' fast-paced offense against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Andy Reid's return to Philly. How fun's that going to be, partner?
Hey, I thought watching that game Monday night and the pace Philadelphia played at was outstanding. The quarterback played well. You mentioned McCoy. He had 31 carries.
Yeah.
When do you see that in the NFL anymore?
I got a little gas just watching those guys. I was on the couch.
And by the way, Andy Reid's done a nice job in Kansas City. Alex Smith has kind of stabilized all the turnovers they generated a year ago. That's a pretty good football team coming into Philly next week.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
I agree.
The runner's knee was down and the ball was short of the 30-yard line. It is fourth down. The Jets are charged with first timeout.
So a challenge lost by Rex Ryan.
I mean, Stephen Hill has 25 pounds on Kyle Arrington. I mean, you got to drop pad level and go. You got to get that first down.
So Robert Malone comes out to punt. Julian Edelman had enough returns last week to go over the minimum you need of 75 to be considered a career punt return leader, and he is the career NFL punt return leader with what he did a week ago. He's going to run up on this one at the 29-yard line and broke a tackle and got out to the 39. So early stages here of the second quarter. Brad Nessler with Mike Mayock, Alex down on the sideline. Partner, it was all New England. That opening drive kept alive by an offensive pass interference penalty. They took it right down the field, but I think the Jets have done a nice job so far defending the last couple series.
Yeah, I think two things. Number one, after the turnover, forcing the field goal from the 8-yard line as opposed to a touchdown. And then I think they started to stabilize things with their run game a little bit. And I've been impressed again with Geno Smith. It looks like his heart rate stays fairly stable. And this kid's showing me something.
So Brady and company at the 39-yard line. Tom comes up throwing, and he's got it to Edelman, and Edelman dropped the ball. Let's see if it's a fumble or an incomplete pass. The Jets are on top of it. I thought he caught it. It was a bang-bang play. And it is Jets ball.
Okay, now to complete the catch, you have to have possession. Both feet have to hit the ground. And then a time element comes into play where you commit an act common to the game, like tucking it and running upfield. So there he has it, 1, 2 feet down, and the strip. That should be possession, Jets.
He started to lose it on his own, and then D. Miller, the rookie corner out of Alabama, made sure that he didn't hold it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, Brad, if he was losing it or trying to change it from one arm to another. Give Milner some credit here. Beleaguered first-round pick, struggled last week.
Yeah, he did. Well, while
Catch, 1,
they review it,
2.
We'll take a timeout. Find out if it's Jets ball when we come back. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by KFC. KFC plus football equals couch gating. And by Lexus, introducing a car designed with one purpose, to stand apart. The all-new 2014 Lexus IS. It's your move. First quarter, first catch ever for Aaron Dobson. Goes for a touchdown from Tom Brady. And their last 3 drives, though, field goal and a couple of punts. Geno Smith engineered the Jets' 61-yard march, and they had to settle for a field goal. So we're waiting under review on whether or not Danny Edelman caught that ball and fumbled it.
Remember now, it's got to be control, both feet, and an element of time. That's the conditions for a catch. And there's some room for interpretation regarding an element of time. That's where I always struggle, because every rep is a little bit different with that.
That was Sheldon Richardson, the rookie #1 draft choice, on the sideline celebrating what he hopes is his first career fumble recovery.
And Brad, last year, here we go.
After review, the ball came loose just as the second foot hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. Second and 10 on the third line, New England hash.
So Edelman and the Patriots get a break there.
Last week, the Patriots were -1 in turnover differential against Buffalo. Atypical of the Patriots, because they led the league in turnover differential a year ago at +25. So they typically win the turnover battle and force you into mistakes. So that's a big non-turnover there for the Patriots.
So they've got another chance from the 39. 2nd down and 10.
Be interesting to see if they start to up-tempo this thing. Remember the first drive, Brad, they went very quick. They've slowed it down a little since then.
And whistles and a penalty.
Ball start, number 77, offense,
Yep.
5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Nate Solder, the left tackle, jumped.
Yeah, it's a good call. Former first-round pick out of Colorado.
Backed up to the 34-yard line.
4 down, 97's down. Solid.
LeGarrette Blount flanks Tom Brady in the gun. Jets thinking about a blitz. And they're going to bring one on Brady. And he's going to go deep. Lofts one out for Edelman. Incomplete. Kyle Wilson was covering. It's funny, the Jets blitz a lot against most teams, but they don't blitz a lot against the Patriots.
That time, it was what's known as zero coverage, Brad, which means you're bringing the house. It's man-to-man all over the field with no free safety help. And Kyle Wilson that time did a great job on Edelman. Remember, Gronkowski out. Hernandez gone. Brandon Lloyd gone. Danny Woodhead gone.
Wes Welker in Denver.
Wes Welker and his 118 receptions gone.
Tompkins in motion across the field on 3rd and 15. Edelman on a little slip screen, made the first man miss, and he's got a first down. Wow. 3rd and a whole bunch, and number 11 holds on to this one.
He's so much fun. Remember, this kid was a college quarterback at Kent State.
And this one's coming back.
Repeat 3rd down.
I didn't hear the call there.
I think it's right there, number 70 with a hold.
Is it Mankins here? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Where?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't see a hold.
Well, instead of a first down in Jets territory, it's 3rd down at 16.
And they're lined up all the way across the front. Interesting to see if they bring the house or drop out.
They're going to keep it on the ground. Leon Washington gets nowhere, maybe a yard. David Harris holding on to him. And so what would have been a first down, and the drive continuing in Jets territory, becomes a punt for New England. And Tom Brady's not real happy right now.
Antonio Allen with a good tackle in the open field. Really impressed with the Mario Davis and David Harris, 2 inside linebackers.
Jets don't have anybody back on the upcoming punt from Ryan Allen.
Okay, I don't understand this one.
And he can kick it to thin air.
There's nobody back.
And it's down. Probably should have let it roll a little bit more. Down to around the 22-yard line.
Yeah, and I think Ben Kutwika, the special teams coach, is pretty upset.
Probably should have been Kyle Wilson, number 20 back there, but he wasn't. Been a long time, Mike, since I've seen a punt return team not have a punt returner on the field, or at least back to field the punt.
Yeah, there were some interesting dynamics on that play that hopefully we'll get a look at in a second.
So the Jets from their own 22-yard line. Play action. Geno Smith rolls to fire. Pump fakes, and now he's just going to take it out of bounds for a couple-yard gain.
And that's a play I think where Smith and Gates have to read better. But let's go back to the last play. Now, Kyle Wilson's their punt returner. Okay, and let's roll this thing and watch Kyle Wilson start to go back. Like, look at him. I'm going that way to return a punt. Now, the guys on the sidelines are saying, get up here. And then they set up to block a punt. So there's 11 up. But typically, at this point in the game, you don't use 11 to block a punt.
Hill comes out of the Jets' backfield. Second down and 9. Smith wants to throw a screen. Got it. Complete to Powell, and Powell's got a first down.
Yeah.
Pickup of 11.
Nice job. Kind of interesting on the last play also. Geno Smith on the bootleg. It was a double move to Gates, but Gates was open on the first move. And I think as Geno and Gates develop together, they'll learn that if it's open like that and Aqib Talib doesn't bite, give him the football.
Chris Ivory back in as the tailback in the eye. He's looked pretty good in this first half. And again, a nice run. 6 more yards for Ivory. Dante Hightower made the stop as we are at the 12-minute mark of the first half.
They're averaging over 4 yards a rush, and I think if you're a Jets fan, that's what you want right now. The game is stabilized. It's been kind of herky-jerky. There's been no rhythm to it, but you got away from that initial onslaught, and now you're moving the football.
Second down and 5. And now it's Powell. And he is met head-on after a pickup of 3, maybe 4. Steve Gregory's back in there at safety, and he made the hit.
You know, he did a nice job. Steve Gregory is an aggressive filler, and look at him all the way back here. This is called a safety inserting himself or adding himself into the run game. He sees the double team, the correct cut by Bilal Powell, but Gregory does a great job taking him down close to the line of scrimmage.
Kept him from getting that first down, so it makes it 3rd down and a long one. They give it to the fullback. He bangs his way for a first down. His initial push didn't have it. But Tommy Bohannon hung with it and used that 246 pounds to get a first down.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo hit him at or behind the line of scrimmage, but Bohannon was able to push the pile behind Willie Colon and the big fella, number 77, Austin Howard.
You're going to see the initial contact. He would have been short right there, but he blasts his way underneath and moves it to the 46-yard line. From behind, Geno Smith on first down. And this one whistled dead before he can get the handoff to Ivory. It'll be a false start.
False start. Number 66, offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Mike just mentioned, Willie.
Penalties, replays, challenges. It's been a funky game.
We'll call it disjointed so far.
Okay, that's probably better than funky.
Well, the plays have evened off. And the team that had 89 a week ago has only 21 in 8 minutes of time of possession so far at the 10-minute mark of the first half. 1st and 15 now. Back just outside the 40. Smith has plenty of time. Deep middle's got his man, and it's close to a first down to Stephen Hill.
You know, when he's protected and he can stare it down and see it, watch what happens here. He's really good in the pocket. Here comes Hill, okay? And watch him step it down, and that's a nice job. No pressure. He steps right in. Vladimir Dukas does a nice job on Will Fork. When you protect this kid and let him step into it, he rips it pretty good.
They're going to bring out the sticks to see if indeed this is a first down. He was right on our line, but we'll wait and see if the chain gang agrees.
Man.
Yep. First down. Rex Ryan, who was hyperventilating a little while ago on that punt situation and the fact that he wanted a holding call. And he was on the officials pretty good. Rex has calmed down. His quarterback looks cool and calm for a rookie playing in a hostile environment for the first time on the road. And he's moved the Jets to the 44-yard line.
Kid was 24 for 38 last week. He took 5 sacks, but he also extended the play 5 times with his legs. I'm telling you, I'm impressed by just his calmness. Doesn't seem disturbed at all, like you were saying this.
He's hit his last 4 passes. Let's see if it's 5 in a row. Oop, almost threw this to the wrong team. Intended for Santonio Holmes, and Alfonso Dennard almost had an interception.
Yeah, Dennard will fight you. Dennard's a competitor. I don't think Holmes is where they want him to be or where he wants him to be. And Brad, when we talked to Gino and we said, you know, who do you think's going to have a good game tomorrow night? He said, well, Santonio's been in my ear all
Right.
week in the cafeteria telling me he's ready to go. But I don't see the same Santonio Holmes we've seen in past years.
Second down and 10. It's Ivory up the middle. And the ball came out at the end. He got bent backwards by Mayo and Villano, and the ball popped out. They unpile everybody. Ninkovich is the guy that ended up with the football, I thought, but it's still Jets ball.
How about Joe Villano, the rookie free agent from Maryland? He's the 3rd defensive tackle in their rotation. Gets a piece. Then you can see Ninkovich 50 trying to rip the football out, and it sure looks like it's about to be.
Well, it's still Jets. Empty backfield, 3rd and 7.
I don't know who ended up with that football, but it was certainly out.
4 wideouts for Geno Smith. He's going to go deep. Got a man out there and broken up. Clyde Gates had his hands on it. But Kyle Arrington knocked it away.
Arrington stripped 2 fumbles last week. He competes in the slot. Gates flies out of Abilene Christian. He's open right now. The ball's a little bit late and underthrown. If that ball comes out sooner or deeper, it's a touchdown. Safety can't get over top, and there was at least 2 yards of separation. That's the 2nd time tonight Geno's missed a vertical.
Malone's punt. Edelman runs up on it and takes a fair catch at the 20-yard line. Only a 21-yard kick. The Jets close, but no points. 10-3 New England. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by John Hancock. Ask your advisor about our different approach. And by Burger King, where taste is king. Patriots have been king of this division for it seems like forever. They've won 11 straight against AFC East opponents, including 4 in a row over the Jets. But the Jets hanging in there tonight. Wonder if Tom Brady can get something going, if the Patriots would go with some tempo. That's how they got their first touchdown.
Brady's only 6 for 13, and I'm wondering if the difficulty with all these young players at the skill position are forcing them to slow it down a little bit.
Here's a stretch play to Ridley, trying to change direction, and all he did was run into Damon Harrison, your favorite guy and one of your favorite nicknames.
Yeah, they call him Snacks because he likes to eat, and when they got him, he was 375-pound free agent out of a tiny college in Iowa. Look at him work, Wendell. On the cutback, he's where he belongs. We got to talk about Big Snacks a little bit when we get a chance.
Not eating as many snacks, obviously, to trim down to where he is. Brady. Near sideline, incomplete, intended for Dobson.
You can't throw that football any better. And Aaron Dobson, the 2nd-round pick, has got to catch the football. I mean, this thing is right on his hands.
And he's spitting on those gloves to get a little better grip if he gets another opportunity.
Bang. He's going to step into it. Come on, catch the football, Dob. Now, notice they're in the huddle again, Brad.
4 down.
Yep.
Longer.
Patriots have not been good on third down tonight. They've got a 3rd and 14 here, and Brady's going to let it rip. Got a man in stride and dropped by Dobson. Well, he didn't spit on those gloves enough, I guess.
That's 2 drops in a row. And I'll tell you what, Leon Washington on a chip gave the time necessary to throw a vertical. Watch the running back right here. Does a great job helping his left tackle Solder. He knocks Barnes down. Beautiful pocket now. Aaron Dobson, your quarterback came back to you 2 times in a row, and both times dropped the football. Got to make the catch.
Ryan Allen to punt this time. Kyle Wilson is back deep, awaiting this kick, and he'll take the fair catch call.
Why?
Around the 33-yard line, and that time he had about 8 yards to work with in front of him.
Nobody anywhere near him.
Mr. Dobson dropped the last 2. Coming up on Tuesday, Darrelle Revis, Football Life. He was a lockdown corner with the Jets. They called it Revis Island out there. And then a devastating injury. And now he has to fight his way back. Looked pretty good with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who the Jets traded him to in the offseason. That's coming up Tuesday. Football Life, Darrelle Revis, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Powell behind Geno Smith, the play fake, and he's in trouble right now, and he's got to just get rid of this one. Ninkovich was back in the backfield in a hurry.
I think this kid, Ninkovich, is one of the most underappreciated players in the entire NFL. He's going to come inside the right tackle, Howard, explode up the field, and force the throw. From Purdue, in his 8th year, he sets the edge versus the run. He pressures quarterbacks, and nobody ever talks about him, but I really appreciate him as a fine football player.
He had 4 of those 10 fumble recoveries last year and forced 5 in an 8-sack campaign. And now Kellen Winslow, I think, jumped.
Number 81, offense, 5-yard lead, 2nd down.
And that's the guilty party.
Winslow had 7 catches for 79 and a touchdown, and Brad, by juxtaposition, the entire wide receiver group last week only had 11 catches for 114. So last week, Geno kind of leaned heavily on the tight end position. This week, they're making a concerted effort to get the ball down the field.
Still not much from Santonio Holmes so far tonight, and he's up to the top of your screen. Stephen Hill in motion. Smith flushed out of the pocket again, and again has to throw it away. Let's check in with Alex.
Brad, maybe one of the reasons you're not seeing Santonio Holmes play up to what he's capable of is he's been battling a foot injury, limited in practice this week because of that injury. And you'll remember last season he had Liz Frank surgery, ended his season. Marty Morningway came into this game saying he was concerned because he hasn't been able to practice. He hasn't been able to get those reps with the young quarterback. He was concerned about his precision and his timing. Maybe you're seeing that here tonight.
Yeah, former Super Bowl most valuable player. Struggling a little bit early in the season. A lot of shifting going on for the Jets. Clock winding down on 3rd and 15. Smith steps up in the pocket, and now he's going to get hit from behind. And that is the first sack of the season for the Patriots. Michael Buchanan, a rookie from the backside, got him.
7th round pick who was a better football player than that. Watch him come around, get pushed by the pocket the first time. Here he comes, gets pushed by, but you keep coming. And Geno comes to you. The only thing he didn't do was strip the football, but Michael Buchanan was a better football player than a 7th round pick.
First time really since the opening drive the Jets didn't do anything with it. Here's Edelman on the other end, and he's got some room to work. Stutter steps and now goes forward and gets about an extra 5 yards out of it. So Patriots good field position with 6:32 to work in this our first Thursday night game. Next Thursday night, Andy Reid returns to Philadelphia. Alex Smith, Jamal Charles and company with the Chiefs, a much improved team it appears after their opening game. And then the fast-paced Michael Vick offensive Chip Kelly in his first year with the Eagles. It's going to be fun, buddy. In your town next Thursday night.
The Pats ran off 89 snaps last week, the most in the league, but the Eagles had 53 at halftime against Washington, and it was like watching a pinball game.
And Chip Kelly says we should have kept our foot on the pedal. And here's a long ball, and Tompkins has it. Went out of bounds, but Tom Brady finds the rookie all the way down inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I think it's another bust.
Actually, they're going to spot it at the 17. I stand corrected. And now the Patriots come up with quick tempo. Brady wants to throw again. Edelman made the catch, and he paid the price. Got it right in the chin from Jarrett, his safety. Here's Tompkins, and there's one, and there's two.
Okay, Tom Brady wasn't sure. That's great hustle to get up and get the snap. Now, my concern on the next snap was he threw it behind Edelman, and Jaquan Jarrett almost would have picked that.
So just a 1-yard gain, second down and 9. Brady comes to Edelman again, trying to make the first man miss, and he won't. Antonio Cromartie holds on.
Edelman had a nice game last week. We mentioned in the open he had 7 catches, 2 of which went for touchdowns. And, you know, when you're Tom Brady, you've got all this experience, and you're used to having a guy like Welker who you could just look at or give a hand single,
right,
and you know he knew what you were going to do. The only guy he's got even close to that tonight is that kid Edelman.
Yep. He comes out on the rookie, Miller. And now we'll come in motion toward the ball. Third down and 5. Brady fires incomplete, and that was between 2 receivers, and he's upset with both of them, I think.
He's upset, and not knowing anything, I'm going to blame Dobson. You know, Dobson is the rookie. He's in a slot. Here's Dobson here. He throws it at his feet. The reaction by Brady, when you're used to having a lot of guys that trust each other implicitly, and then you go out there with a bunch of rookies, man, it's frustrating.
I think he thought, or Dobson was supposed to head to the post, and he went to the outside instead, and oh, man.
Exactly.
Tom Brady is still fired up on the sideline. Meanwhile, 30-yard field goal is good, and the lead goes back to 10 for the Patriots.
And if you read lips, he said he was wide open is what Tom Brady was so upset about. And you, let's face it, the best team I've ever seen in the red zone in my life were the Patriots a year ago. 70% conversions for touchdowns. Last week they were 2 for 5 in the red zone. This week they're frustrated again. I believe they're 1 out of 3.
So they go 43 yards in 5 plays in a hurry in a minute 27 seconds, and they have to settle for a 30-yard field goal. And those are not Tom Brady-like numbers normally.
And Brad, you know, in the red zone, everything's compressed. Yep. Everything happens more quickly. The reads and the throws have to come out immediately. And I think that's where they're losing some of the rhythm. It's just the disconnects with Brady and the young wide receivers.
Gostkowski, who just hit the 30-yard field goal, will kick away to Clyde Gates. And so far, he hasn't given Gates anything to return. And he won't this time either. So that'll be interesting to see, really, the Jets, their first possession and the last time they had the ball are the only 2 times that really they got nothing going. And now they've got plenty of time. They only have 2 timeouts left because Rex Ryan lost one on the challenge early.
Yeah.
But they'd like to get something going and at least get 3 here before halftime.
Been pretty impressed with Geno. After that 3rd preseason game against the Giants where he threw 3 interceptions and took a horrible safety running out of the back of the end zone, I was like, he is not ready for prime time. But this week, last week, Marty Morningwig's get quarterback-friendly game plans. Done a nice job.
4 wide receivers for Geno.
First charge timeout, New England. The 32nd timeout.
Patriots take their first timeout.
So we talk about Geno, and 2 of the plays I'm most impressed with. One, he took a big hit, and one, he made a great read. And here's the big hit. He knows he's going to get smacked right in the face by Chandler Jones. All the way down the field, out-breaking route to Santonio Holmes. He puts it on him, takes the hit, and gets the penalty for roughing the passer. And then in the pocket, patient, waiting for Stephen Hill to come back to the football in a zone. Deep curl, pick up a first down at the sticks. Those are the two throws I was most impressed with. One taking a hit and improvising, the other hanging in the pocket and making a throw.
Now he has a look at that front wall of the Patriots. Out of the shotgun on first down, crossing route complete. Short gain, though, for Kellen Winslow. Oh, Steve Gregory out there on the stop.
Steve Gregory's everywhere, isn't he? I mean, undersized. He's kind of a corner more than a safety, but he's very aggressive. They picked him up this past year as an unrestricted free agent out of San Diego.
And now they got 4 wideouts and a fullback. Do the Jets just inside the 24, and it'll be the fullback, but he only gets one. Tommy Bohannon. Vince Wilfork knocked him off his pins. Big Vince, captain again, as he's been so many years in a row for this team in his 10th season. We said, what's the key to being able to play as many snaps as you do as he comes out in this particular case? Said conditioning, man, conditioning. He's worked hard.
He's a beast. And Brad, here's a situation, 3rd and 5 with the clock winding down. You don't want to give the football back to Tom Brady down 13-3. This is a huge 3rd down for the Jets.
A bunch set for the Jets to the right of Smith. He's looking the other way, and he better get rid of it. Down he goes again. And from the backside, Chandler Jones.
I thought he had a chance to throw the slant to Stephen Hill. Now, you got to trust him to win inside because he's got a big body and he gets that body in between the corner and the quarterback, but he's already out. Great job by Chandler Jones, but I really think you got to trust your receiver and rip it.
Second straight 3 and out. Malone's punt. Backs Edelman up. Late fair catch, and now the ball is out. And he covers it anyway.
I think the Patriots fans wanted a flag on Ellis Langster, as did Edelman, for interfering with the catch.
As I said, the fair catch was late, but he did get the hand up right there.
And then it's a push into. You can see clearly it looked like Talib pushed Langster into him. Good no call by the refs.
Yep. So as you said, you don't want to give it back to Tom Brady with 3 minutes plus remaining and a couple of timeouts, and that's exactly what the Jets just did.
Yeah, watch him milk this clock if he has an opportunity.
Ridley, no gain on that play.
Yeah, Kendrick Ellis.
Nose tackle.
Yeah, he shares snaps with Big Snacks. And between the two of them, there's about 700 pounds of untamed terror. Look at my man's feet.
He's got the quick feet, though. The high step to the sideline.
3rd round pick out of Hampton. And they drafted a bunch of defensive linemen high the last 3 years. And that's one of the reasons their front has a chance to be really good.
And flags fly in the secondary.
There's no foul for defensive 12 players on the field. The timeout was called prior to the foul.
So that's the second time.
That's the Jets' second charge timeout, a 30-second timeout.
That there was either a no call or a timeout call before the substitution penalty. So the Jets are down to 1 timeout. Patriots still have 2 remaining. A reminder for you, NFL Game Rewind. Great stuff. Got coaches' film, full replays of every game. You get free access to NFL Game Rewind right now. Sign up for a free trial at NFL.com/Game Rewind.
And if you're an aficionado of X's and O's, man, you got to get the Game Rewind. You get the all 22. There goes Snacks.
Damon Harrison, Snacks, is heading to the locker room to get some early ones.
Free agent Carl Dunbar, the defensive line coach, went to Rex and asked for him. Some heels there now.
Mike 55. 180.
Second down and 10. Brady, the quick slant to Edelman, and he got about 9 out of it.
I think that's about his 7th catch tonight. You can tell who Tom Brady trusts so far.
I told somebody today this kid might catch 15 balls tonight. He's about halfway there.
You know, and Dobson has dropped 2.
Yep.
Diamond!
Still have a yard to go, though.
Good matchup in the middle there with Cromartie and Tompkins.
And Brady, deep sideline, and he overshot her. Dobson lost it, trying to readjust his route and get his head turned around the right way.
It's pretty easy to see the disconnects between Brady and his receivers, because when he's got his guys and they get separation, he doesn't miss them. D. Milner there got beat.
Kyle Wilson back, punt return on a 4th and 1. Allen's kick. Wilson will have to let it bounce. And it really didn't cost him too much. Well, 2 or 3 yards. Finally, it's still going. It's still going. All the way down to the 5. Better punt than I thought it was going to be. Still a minute 56 remaining in the half.
Rich Eisen letting you know coming up on the Lexus Halftime Show, the recipe for the Jets comeback and the latest on Mark Sanchez's shoulder. Brad, Mike?
All right, Rich. Congratulations on being a daddy again. New baby in the Eisen family. There's Mark Sanchez flanking the head coach on the sideline. A minute 56 remaining, but the Jets only have 1 timeout, and they're in a kind of a bad spot for a rookie quarterback at his own 6-yard line. Stephen Hill, the motion man, but they'll go straight ahead with a run. Try to get a little more room there to work. Maybe a 3-yard pickup for Powell before Tommy Keller made the stop. And there has to be a little sense of urgency here unless the Jets are comfortable going to the locker room down 10.
What about the Patriots? I mean, I'm thinking normally they're calling timeout to try and get the punt the ball and get the ball back, but they're not doing that. I think it's because the disconnects offensively.
Smith to throw from his own goal line. Maybe. Nope. He won't get a throw away. And it's Chandler Jones with his 2nd sack and his 2nd dance of this quarter.
At some point tonight, I want to show people who I think he reminds me of a little bit when I watched him at Syracuse and then in the NFL. And I think his length and his ability to get to the quarterback and his strength reminds me a little bit of Jason Taylor, a young Jason Taylor. He's like Bambi. He's so long. He's still trying to figure out how to make it all work. But, man, the kid's gifted.
Yeah. Athletic family, too. His brother is in the NFL. His other brother, John Bones Jones, is the ultimate fighting champion. So, you know, if they can't sack you, they'll just kick the crap out of you. You know, that's the family.
I made the statement when before the draft, Chandler Jones year, that after I watched all his tape, I thought he might become the best defensive player in that draft. And he had a really good start to his rookie year a year ago. Then he had some injuries. If this kid stays healthy, I think he's got a chance to be special.
And Geno Smith better be cognizant of where number 95 is right now, because he's standing in his own end zone. Don't want to take a safety here. Smith lets it rip down the middle into double coverage and almost intercepted. Stephen Hill got a hand on it.
And Brad, you called it again. Good pressure by Chandler Jones. A little twist stunt. Jones is here and they're going to replace. It's just a little defensive end tackle stunt. He comes around. He's going to learn to do it tighter. He's a little bit loose on that. As he gets a little more maturity, he'll cut that off. And then down at the end, it's double coverage. But you throw it up to a 6'4" guy, see if he can make a play.
Malone, you look behind him. He's deep in his own end zone to punt. He hits the punt high, but Edelman's camped under it at the 43. One of the best in the business at this. He's into Jets territory, and he's inside the 40. So they've got an opportunity to get more points with 53 seconds to go. The Patriots scored the first time they had it, going 81 yards for a touchdown, and then it's been a kicking game for him. Punts and field goals since, but right now you put Tom Brady in a good spot at the 40-yard line with 53 seconds yet to work with and a couple of timeouts.
Brad, third down conversions and red zone conversions is what they do.
Beg your pardon, one timeout for the Patriots.
And tonight, they've been very poor in both categories.
Ridley trying to follow his blockers, cuts it outside. He waited and waited and then took it for 7 or 8 yards. Good run.
Yeah, Dan Connolly pulled out and got in front. Ridley was patient. That's what I like. Watch Connolly, 63, get out in front of this. And I like the patience behind him. Good block on the edge. Kyle Wilson loses contain. And with 46 seconds, they're on the move.
2nd down and 3. Brady fires across the middle. Nice catch behind him by Dobson. Boy, he dropped some that he should have caught. He caught one that he maybe shouldn't have.
And Brady rolling to his right was inaccurate behind Dobson. Nice catch. In field goal range now.
Tom Brady 50% of his throws in this half. And now he's going to the corner. And wow, that one by Tompkins is caught. Touchdown.
This will get reviewed. All touchdowns get reviewed. D. Milner chasing. Look at this ball where it's placed. Does the ground help the catch? It certainly bounces against the ground now. Watch his hands. It's okay if it hits the ground, but the ground can't help him make a catch. And I think the ground made him. I don't think that's a touchdown, folks. His hands, Brad, are on either side of the football, not underneath it. And I think the ground's going to help him here.
Tell you what, he laid out beautifully for it.
Touchdown. The previous play is under review.
I think this is coming. This is the angle right here. Hands on either side. It hits the ground and moves a little bit, and then he controls it.
Tell you what, Charles Stewart, our replay official, has been busy tonight, hasn't he?
So have we. Does he control it with no help from the ground is the key question there. And I would maintain the ground helped him secure the football. I think it's coming back.
A great layout by the rookie out of Cincinnati just to get to that one. Wow. Pins it against his body at the end. And Rex Ryan thinks it's incomplete.
Rex, how do you really feel about that, Rex?
Again, if it does come back, Tom Brady still got 19 seconds to work with and one timeout. Reminder for you, Lex's halftime report is 19 seconds away. Rich and the guys recap this first half for you. That will be a lopsided first half if that touchdown stands. He still got the football, we'll say that much.
Oh man, that's a tough one now.
There's the offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels talking with Tom Brady.
I think this has taken a long time because the ball's coming back and they've got to make sure they understand what the yard line is and how much time is left. Does the ground help him secure the catch? Certainly hits the ground and into his chest. I think this is the angle you hang your hat on right there.
If it's
and
not
at it closer to normal speed, Brad, that looks like it pops up.
The receiver's hand slid down the ball, indicating loss of control. That is an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 25-yard line. New England hash.
So back to the 25 and 2nd and 10.
I think it's the right call. And now it's incumbent upon the Jets to take advantage of that opportunity and save a minimum of 4 points.
Just so you were wondering if the Jets head coach thought it was incomplete, there you go.
Rex looks pretty good down 125 pounds.
Does he ever look good? 2nd and 10. One timeout left for the Patriots. Brady getting some pressure this time. Flushed from the pocket, reverses field, and then just got rid of it.
That was good hustle there by Leon Washington, making his way back to the football so they didn't call an intentional grounding.
And maybe more importantly, that was 8 seconds that took for the scramble and the throwaway, and that's 3rd and 10.
He almost scrambled himself out of field goal range.
Yes, he did.
He's not the most nimble of foot. Kind of like Dan Marino, neither of them could run a 6-flat 40 downhill on a skateboard, but they both move beautifully in the pocket.
This is so unpatriot-like. They've missed their last 7, and they're 1 out of 8 on 3rd down conversions, and they led the NFL in that capacity a year ago. And Brady's just going to get it in the middle of the field and let his field goal unit come out as he takes the last time out.
That's a big reversal.
Sure is. As you said, it saved 4, and maybe it'll save more depending on what Stephen Gostkowski does with this kick. He's been perfect so far this year. Four seconds away from halftime, and Teddy Bruschi being honored, going in the Ring of Honor here tonight.
2 pretty good linebackers right there with him and Willie McGinnis.
Willie McGinnis.
Teddy's
Our
son.
crew.
Yeah. I talked to Teddy before the game tonight and just thought it was a really cool night for him and his family as he's being honored here at halftime.
This is not a chip shot.
Nope.
A 43-yard field goal attempt. Final play of the half, and it's not a chip shot.
There
It's
you
wide
go.
left.
Yep.
What a difference a replay can make. Instead of a commanding lead, a missed field goal. 13-3 at halftime, and the Jets hanging in despite a lack of offense. That's the end of the first half. New England walks to the locker room, but only up 10. Stay tuned for the Lexus Halftime Show with Rich and the guys coming up next. Back at Gillette Stadium, just about set to start the second half. But first we check out the Volkswagen first half game summary. This is unlike the Patriots to be 1 out of 9 on 3rd down conversions, Mike.
Last season they led the NFL at almost 50%, and in the red zone an unbelievable 70% a year ago. 0 for 2 tonight, and I directly attribute all of this to the loss of Welker, Amendola, Hernandez, Gronkowski.
It was quite a halftime we just had. Teddy Bruschi goes in the Hall of Fame, the Patriots Hall of Fame, along with former play-by-play guy Gil Santos. And as soon as he got put in the Hall of Fame, the skies opened up. That's why you see the big smile on Teddy's face as he heads over to the Patriots sideline. Well, we're going to have a different look here in the second half because, indeed, the rain is heavy right now, and it's going to stay with us, I think, for a while, according to our radar and what we anticipated earlier tonight. Gostkowski to kick off to open the second half, and again, the Jets have not been able to have any kind of return. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line, and now Geno Smith and company, they got to get something rolling here. Their last couple of possessions weren't that great.
Yeah, they've struggled offensively. I don't think it's Geno, and I think they got to get back, especially with this rain, to running the football.
They did that with Chris Ivory in the first half, and he had a pretty good first half. So let's see if they go back to that as they start at the 20-yard line with heavy rain coming down in Foxborough. Ivory is in there as the tailback behind Bohannon on first down from the 20 to open up the third quarter. And there is Ivory. And again, a good gain. He got 4. You take that anytime. Chandler Jones made the stop. He had 2 sacks in the second quarter. Here's your Doppler radar. We're kind of right in the middle of that circle. And that doesn't look good. I don't know a lot about weather, but that just doesn't look good.
No, and I'm happy you took the lead on that one, partner.
Second down and 6. Needs windshield wipers right now, Chandler Jones. From the 24-yard line, Stephen Hill in motion toward the ball. Draw play to Powell. Got a good block.
Whoa,
One
Vince
hit, then got
Wilfork.
stood up. Let's check in with Alex.
So, Brad, the New York Jets had a hard time in the first half protecting Geno Smith. Rex Ryan telling me that the Pats are doing nothing more than a 4-man rush with tight coverage, telling me that to help Geno, he needs his wide receivers to do a better job of getting open. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick telling me that they've done a good job, the Jets have, of pressuring Tom Brady. When I asked him to describe the offensive rhythm for his team in the first half, he said pressure.
Exactly. I tell you to stay dry, Alex, but I know that's not going to happen. 3rd down and 3. Smith from the gun, looking left and going deep on the left sideline, and he's got his man at a 40-yard line, Clyde Gates. And now the ball picked up, but he was down, and Geno Smith put that one right where he had to.
Yeah, 4-man pressure. He hangs in the pocket, puts it on Gates. 1 foot down, 2 feet down, the ball secure, knees down. That's a catch. That's clean, and that's a heck of a throw. And what Alex said is true. Some of these Jets wide receivers have got to win the individual one-on-one battles, and that time Gates did.
Patriots blitz here, and Powell bounces off his blockers, and he gets about 3 out of it. Powell, 3rd-year pro out of Louisville. They continue to shuffle the backs, Powell and then Ivory.
One of the criticisms on Geno Smith, it's like somebody's coming out of the game.
That's the right tackle, Austin Howard.
And in comes Brian Winters, the rookie 3rd-round pick from Kent State. So they're going to shuffle the deck here a little bit offensively. This Winters kid, 67. Oh, loved him on tape. He played right tackle and left tackle at Kent State. The Jets moved him inside the guard where he's battling Vladimir Dukas, but he can play either tackle.
So the Jets on the opening march of the 3rd quarter going to have to take a timeout.
Yep.
That's a killer, slowing their drive, but they do have a 2nd down and 7 in Patriot territory when we come back. Day Night Football brought to you by the Volkswagen Passat. That's the power of German engineering. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. A wet second half here early in the 3rd quarter at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. The skies have opened up after a dry first half, and we've got to clean some of our lenses off. 2nd down and 7. Fullback Bohannon in motion behind Smith. And a middle screen, and Patriots blew that up, intended for Powell, and he couldn't handle it.
Patriots made Gerard Mayo their 1st-round draft pick back in 2008, become one of the better linebackers in the league. Played 100% of the snaps last week, Brad. Doesn't come off the field. Nickel, dime, base packages. Gerard Mayo's a pretty special football player.
184 tackles last year, and he's had over 100 every one of his 5 previous years out of Tennessee. 3rd down and 7. And Powell is nailed immediately by Nigovich, and he lost about 4.
And this is I'm sorry, Brad.
I was going to say, in these kind of conditions, they probably didn't have field goal range to start with, but now they certainly don't.
Yeah, this is another stunt. The tackle goes outside. Nigovich goes inside. Excellent power and explosion by Ninkovich.
If he doesn't make that play, they have at least the opportunity to think about a long field goal. And with that loss, 7th punt of the night by Malone.
Ball handling becomes a premium here.
Edelman calls fair catch and lets it bounce, and it's going to roll inside the 5-yard line.
Now, there were a lot of disconnects between Brady and his wide receivers. Dobson right there in the slot. He's got to stay back to the inside, not break it to the outside. Brady throws inside. That's a touchdown. And Tom Brady was frustrated. And again, Dobson wins to the outside. Brady puts it on him, but he drops it. Easily, Brad, I've watched a lot of Patriot football over the years. Easily the most frustrating offensive half I've seen since Tom Brady became quarterback.
Now in his 14th year, and those aren't his normal kind of numbers. He He's trying to keep his hands dry with that pouch in front now, but it's pretty hard to do. And if he throws, he'll be throwing from his own goal line. They keep it on the ground, and they're going to lose yardage. Nice job by the Jets defense. A loss of 2. Sheldon Richardson, their rookie #1 draft choice, with another big play.
Brad, he's a beast.
Yeah.
Okay, first-round pick, 294 pounds. He ran a 4.8 40, and I called his defensive coordinator, a good friend of mine named Dave Steckel at Missouri, and said, Steck, how good is this kid before the draft? He said, Mike, I told you Alden Smith 2 years ago was going to be a freak. He said, this kid's just as freaky, but a different body type, and he was right.
Yeah, he has had a good start to his rookie campaign over the last week and a half, or game and a half, I should say. And now Brady will throw from his own end zone. Scanning the field, comes on across. And James Devlin, the fullback, with a short gain. You can just tell by the facial expressions on Tom Brady's face that guys are not heading in the direction he's thinking they're going.
You know what happened is he wanted a vertical that time, and I think he had it, but Tompkins didn't recognize that, or Dobson, I think it was, excuse me, and he cut the route off. It's a tough night for Tom Brady. He's going to have to hang in there.
He's in the gun here and under the gun on 3rd and 7. Again from the end zone. Fires, incomplete, intended for Dobson. And it was Darren Walls on the coverage. And now the Patriots are going to have to punt from their own end zone.
Brady was looking for a back shoulder here. And this is another one where it looks like Walls got his hand in. Tight coverage, just got his hand in at the last second. And it's obvious the disconnect between Brady and these young receivers on timing routes and routes you have to make decisions.
Jets have nobody back again. They're going to try to get a block on the rookie punter in the end zone.
Not even close.
And the good news for them is the punt didn't go all that far, although it is going to roll down around the 42-yard line. So the second time tonight the Jets have not had anybody back for a punt return. They'll have it on offense with good field position, though, when we come back. Most of my friends are fantasy football players. It's not too late to sign up. Play NFL.com fantasy football. Enjoy free mobile apps and sign up for free today at NFL.com/fantasy. This is reality. It's raining. We're in Foxborough. They're trying to keep the footballs dry. And the Jets are only trailing the Patriots 13-3 with 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Chris Ivory back as the tailback in the Jets' eye, but it's Geno Smith wanting to throw on first down. Backside pressure. Down he goes. It's Tommy Kelly this time. And that is the 4th sack of the night for the Patriots.
Yeah, you can't burp the baby. You can't just sit there and stare it down and stare it down and tap the football. The ball's got to come out. You'll see right here, Kelly does a nice job using his hands to free himself off Howard. You can't stand there, pat it, look the other way. At some point, Geno Smith, you've got to feel that pressure and get out. And that was one of my complaints with him in the preseason, his pocket awareness.
That's second down at 13. Smith going to take off this time. And he's got room to run, and he's going to get a first down. So that time, the rookie quarterback picks up a first down with his legs. If you were already looking up burp the baby in your encyclopedia or maybe on the internet, that's Mike's term for when a quarterback taps his hand on the football too long and then throws late.
And what I love, though, on this one, he burped the baby on the previous one, but remember, a week ago, he used his legs. He's staring, doesn't feel the backside pressure, doesn't see it. The quarterback's got to have an internal clock.
First time he's picked up a first down running the football, and now it's Chris Ivory running the football. And the Patriots stand him up at the 42-yard line.
You know, we're talking Geno in our open tonight, right, Brad? Yep. And what I said at the end of it was I was impressed by him because he pulled the ball down and ran it 5 times last week in extended drives. We just saw him do it the first time tonight. And it's got to be that old adage. Either the ball's got to come out or you got to get out. But you can't just stand there like a statue because that's just bad things are going to happen.
Marty Morningweg said, yeah, he did some good things on third down, but one time he slid too early. He could have gotten one more yard and another first down.
I love Marty. He's funny.
On 2nd and 6, Smith loads and comes to the near sideline, and what a catch by Santonio Holmes. And that's the kind of Santonio Holmes we're used to seeing.
Yeah, especially in weather like this where it's more difficult to both throw and catch. A little bail technique. Talib slipped coming out of the break there. Nice job. Dot the I. Sitting at home in your living room, that's pretty cool right there. Both feet, slide it. There's a veteran.
And a first down at the 27. So the Jets have got something working here with 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Ivory. And again, keeps his balance, puts his hand down. Spikes brought him down, but he got 4.
Yeah, I think the Jets have to stay committed to running the football, Brad. And they've been efficient all night, but they get away from it. And one of the things with Marty Morningweg in Philadelphia, and I'm a Philly guy, and I really like Marty and think he's a great coach, but Marty's got throw the football in his DNA. and sometimes I think you got to take a step back and continue to protect that young quarterback.
Jets have more total yards than the Patriots, but they trail by 10. Second down and 6 at the New England 23. Geno Smith scans the field. He's got a man, a safety valve wide open on the side, and it's Powell, and he's got a first down before he's drilled around the 13-yard line.
No, Brad, you like that one, right?
I do.
Looks down the field, but he knew he had a check down. And this is one of the few times in college or the NFL I've seen him use a check down effectively. Nothing there. Get it out. Plow, plow. Bang. I think you can hear this, Brad.
And a first down at the 12-yard line. 7th play of the Jets drive. Ivory again. And this time, no gain. Patriots are there waiting for him. Dante Hightower is the first guy that got to him.
I think Hightower's starting to come into his own a little bit. You look at their linebackers, there's 3 SEC players. You got Mayo, a first-round pick from Tennessee, Spikes, a second-round pick from Florida, and Hightower, another first-rounder out of Bama. And you know what? They can run, they get to the football, and they're pretty tough.
All former first-team All-SEC players at their respective schools. Second down at 10. Smith under center with Ivory behind him, but he'll throw a quick slant, and it's caught by Kellen Winslow, and he gets up trying to get the extra yardage.
They had a chance to score there. If that ball's put on him and he doesn't have to go to the ground, he walks into the end zone. He's going to run a little arrow route back under, and let's see if he had to go to the ground or not. That ball's pretty well thrown. I don't know if he had to go down or not, but if he doesn't, if he catches it cleanly, it's a touchdown.
He had a touchdown last week. They're still looking for a touchdown tonight, and they're looking for one more yard to make it first and goal. Biggest third down of the ball game for the Jets. And Powell has got it in a touchdown. Nice job of bouncing off the first hit, and he scores from 3 yards out.
Yeah, Vladimir Dukas, the left guard, does a great job on Vince Wilfork. Dukas is 325 pounds in his 4th year out of UMass. Former second-round pick. Watch him here. This is a load you're blocking here now. You got a load one-on-one. Look at him stand Vince up. You don't see many players do that one-on-one to Vince Wilfork, and I give Vlad some credit there.
Nick Folk in for the point after. That was a good-looking drive.
Yep.
It started at the 42-yard line. There was a big catch by Santonio Holmes that kept the drive alive on the near sideline. And then they cap it after 5 minutes with a 3-yard touchdown, and it's 13-10. Well, the team that normally runs a lot of plays and has a ton of total yardage, they don't tonight. 39 plays and 174 yards, and it's the Jets with the advantage and a huge time of possession advantage as well, because the Patriots offense has been held without a first down on 6 of their 10 possessions tonight. Wow. Blunt will take a knee. And the Patriots will come back out to the 20-yard line. A wet second half. We'll see if the Patriots can warm up their offense from the 20 when we come back. Bill Belichick in his 14th season, not used to seeing his Patriots struggle this much offensively, but remember what they're missing. Wes Welker's in Denver. Brandon Lloyd's a free agent. Rob Gronkowski's still injured. Aaron Hernandez is incarcerated on a murder charge, and Danny Woodhead's a San Diego Charger. You lose a lot of stuff right there. And they keep it on the ground here, and they only get about a yard as Demario Davis rips it and stops Stephen Ridley for a short game.
Ness, that was 338 receptions you just talked about out of 402 completions a year ago, which means that the leading returning receiver that's playing tonight is Edelman. He had 21 catches a year ago.
And he's got a third that many tonight because he's been the main target. And he's in a slot on the right side for Tom Brady on 2nd down and 9. Brady play action. Fires again, intended for, no, that one's for Dobson, and it's off his hands. Dobson had a touchdown catch on his first career reception, and since then he's dropped some balls.
Watch this. He doesn't get his head around as he clears the Jet linebacker. He's not ready for the ball. Look, he just gets his head around. It's way too late. Look at him. He doesn't even know it's there. His hands aren't up. And as soon as you clear that linebacker, your head's going to get on a swivel because the ball is coming.
Patriots have missed their last 9 first down attempts. 3rd and 9 here. Brady, quick throw. Edelman's got this one, and it is a first down. So that's catch number 8 for number 11. And they'll move the sticks.
Pretty soon, Tom Brady's going to say, "You're the only dude I'm throwing it to."
That crossed my mind earlier. Alex?
Well, Brad, we talked to Tom Brady yesterday and spent a little time talking about kind of the inexperience. And I was interested when he told us about how many plays these young players have to learn and kind of the verbiage that they use. So he'll yell out something for formation and play. These guys might not know them.
This time Tom's not going to get a play off as the sack comes from Duzable. And that's the first sack of Tom Brady tonight. Just in follow-up with what Alex said when we talked to Tom yesterday, and he talked about the young receivers and the fact he's got to get in their face sometimes. He said you got to find a way not to crush their confidence, but you have to let the rookies know that mistakes aren't acceptable. And one play could cost us a ball game, and you never know what play that's going to be.
And there have been a lot of them tonight. They had an opportunity to extend this game by halftime out of the Jets' reach, and now you got a football game.
Ridley, nice run. And he gets out some of that sack yardage back and picks up 8. And still, here comes the bugaboo so far tonight, 3rd down.
Yeah, we talked about them converting almost 50% of their 3rd downs a year ago. Today, 2 for 11.
They need to get it out to the 41-yard line this time.
Find 11. Where's Waldo?
He's in a slot on the left side, right there. And there goes the pass, but it goes to the other receiver who didn't hold again, Kenbrell Tompkins, and it's punting time.
And I know they're young, but if you put a montage of drops and disconnects together between Tompkins and Dobson, it would be an ugly montage. You're going to get the clear by 11, and he's going to throw it under him and puts it right on him again. Ness, you're laughing.
No, I'm kind of shrugging my shoulders. I'm glad I'm not Tom Brady.
Let him go, let him go.
From the 12-yard line, Wilson, and going to be dropped as he got to the 15, maybe the 16-yard line. There's been opportunities off the fingertips of Dobson, including that last 3rd down throw. And with it comes some frustration from your all-pro quarterback. Night Football is brought to you by The Family. This fall, The Mob will meet its match. It's in theaters Friday, and who can you have better than Bob De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer and Tommy Lee Jones?
Pretty good cast,
I'd say.
I like that.
We got 2:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter with Mike Mayock and Alex Flanagan. Brad Nessler with you from Gillette Stadium on a rainy night. It was a dry first half, anything but in the second half. And a New England Patriot team that's normally like clockwork has not been ticking very well tonight. And now the Jets have an opportunity to take it down the field and tie it or take the lead. Powell, who scored the last time he touched it, only got about a yard as Ninkovich wraps him up.
What a frustrating night for Tom Brady.
I don't think that's mosquito repellent.
It was his right hand, and he put the towel over it, like Freddie Bolitnikoff there with a stickum, huh?
Let's see if Geno Smith will put it up with an empty backfield. He's going to have to now unless he runs with it. 2nd down and 9. Patriots going to bring an extra man. Smith stands in, throws out in the flat to the fullback who made the catch, but he's going to lose yardage on the deal. Dante Hightower ran him out of bounds, loss of a couple. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long.
Ninkovich again came loose, kind of disengaged from Bohannon, the fullback, and pressured Geno into throwing it before he was ready to. It's a heck of a game. Like you come out of every game you watch with these Patriots, and we all talk about Tom Brady, and we talk about Chandler Jones, a 1st-round pick, and every time I watch a tape, I come away going, man, 50's a good football player.
This is where you have to be careful with the rain coming down and a rookie quarterback on a 3rd and 11 in his own territory. Smith hasn't made any mistakes tonight as far as turning the ball over, and he overshot his receiver who was open, Santonio Holmes.
Heavy pressure again. I think it was Buchanan this time.
So Robert Malone comes in for another punt. This will be his 8th of the night. And Julian Edelman 3 times has taken him back for touchdowns. Came in career average a little over 13 per return, and he's been most of the offense tonight for New England. He's going to get a crack at this one too. From the 34. Edelman weaving his way. He's just kind of sneaky good on the punt returns, isn't he?
Yeah.
13 more yards, right on his average, with 58 seconds remaining in the quarter. This is our first Thursday night game of 13. Don't forget, next week's going to be fun, as the Chiefs look very good in week 1, are much improved, and the Eagles and their fast-paced offensive. First-year head coach Chip Kelly's our matchup. Andy Reid's return to Philly. That'll be interesting next week. The Eagles and the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network.
Yeah,
Hope
that's
you join
us.
us.
That's really going to be a fun one.
Alert! Alert!
Good field position here for Brady and company at the 47-yard line. It'll be Ridley behind his fullback. He broke the first wave. Rather, LeGarrette Blount, I beg your pardon. And a good run for Blount, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah, I thought Muhammad Wilkerson was going to make the tackle there. He had a chance as well as McIntyre, and that 250-pound load by the name of Blount just ran through both arm tackles.
Over!
No
In
huddle.
Jets territory at the 46. Try it one way, try it the other way. This time it's not going to work so well. Might have lost a half yard that time.
Demario Davis is a good football player.
He is.
He's, we talked to Rex yesterday. He's so fast. He came from the backside linebacker, found a gap, exploded through it, made the tackle.
He said people thought that was a dumb draft choice out of Arkansas State. He says you wait and see what this kid number 56 is going to be like someday.
Yep.
Well, we played 3. A lot of people thought the Patriots would be well in command by this point, but it's only a field goal difference. 4th quarter coming up. Patriots 13, Jets 10. 4th quarter set to begin. And our first Thursday night football game of the year at Gillette Stadium, and it's a big 3rd down right now to open the quarter. 3rd and 4 for the Patriots in Jets territory. Edelman, a little bit of motion toward the ball. Brady's going to go the other way, and it's incomplete through the quick slant, and it's going to be 4th down. So Mike Mayock, here we are in the 4th quarter. A lot of people thought the Patriots would have things in hand by now. The Jets have hung around. They got a touchdown 2 possessions ago, and they're going to get the ball back right here. We got a pretty good football game.
We do, and I think what people have to understand if you're a New England fan, it's the least skill position talent they've had on the field in years. Attrition and injuries. Jets, on the other hand, give them some credit, and I think they need to continue to run the football and have a good balance. They get a chance to win a football game here.
Allen with that left foot, an end-over-end knuckleball that Wilson gets everybody out of the way, and it's going to roll dead at about the 20-yard line. So here's, both teams struggled last week in their opening wins, both 1-0 coming in, and they had to kick late field goals. Here's your rookie quarterback, Geno Smith, who actually played better in the second half last week. He's got an opportunity now for the stars to shine as a rookie here on the road.
And Marty Mornhinweg, I said earlier, it's in his DNA. Marty wants to throw the football, and they've already rushed for 95 yards, and it's been over 4 yards a crack, and I think they've got to stay with it as much as it bothers Marty. Protect this kid, get it late in the game, and then give him a chance to win it.
And again, if you haven't been watching, the rain has lightened up a little bit, but it's a wet football out there here in the fourth quarter. Crowd trying to get into it for the Patriots defense. Smith rips it down the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, and that should have been caught.
The kid from Lehigh.
Spadola.
Yeah, Ryan Spadola. And there I go, say you got to run the football, and he puts it right on Spadola, and he's got to catch the football. And that's a good job of the strip there by McCourty. But Spadola is a kid that is a tough kid. He was a track guy at Lehigh, caught the football well. You can't get that opportunity to put it on the ground.
If we chalked up all the catches that should have been made tonight, it would be a whole different story on both sides.
Right.
And now they do run the ball with Ivory. Brought down by Ninkovich again. And it'll be a third down for the Jets.
The guy that I've had some interest in tonight, Brad, and we don't talk about offensive linemen a lot, but big Vladimir Dukas from UMass. He was a second-round pick 4 years ago, and offensive line coach Mike Devlin told me the light finally came on this training camp. He's figured it out. He's a big-time athletic upgrade over Steven Peterman, the veteran who they cut, and he's holding his own tonight against Big Vince.
One of the captains tonight. Third down and a huge 7-0. There goes
another one.
Timeout number 2.
Tight game. You don't want to see that.
You might need that timeout later. Not going to have many other chances. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by the new Windows Phone, the smartphone reinvented around you. And by Pizza Hut. Make it great. Not a great night statistically for the Patriots. Tom Brady, 13 of 29.
Wow.
9 straight misses on third down. And look at their total yardage in the third quarter, 22 yards. And that's the Jets that have a big 3rd and 7 decision here with 13:56 to play. And again, Geno Smith directing traffic. He wants some protection here to throw. Gets enough of it to complete the pass to Santonio Holmes for a first down.
He can't make that throw unless Bilal Powell does a great job in pass protection. Quarterback's best friend. Watch him step up and allow Geno time. Nice job, one-on-one. He stays square, slows down the defender, and then here comes Santonio underneath, working on the nickel Arrington. That's a well-conceived and well-executed play.
And Bilal Powell's given away about 50 pounds to Dante Hightower, and he stuck his nose in there on that block. You're right. This time Powell trying to go underneath everybody to get a decent gain, and did get a little bit out of it. And a future Hall of Fame quarterback pacing that sideline, hoping to get another chance.
The precision that New England's had the last 3 years offensively with Gronkowski and Hernandez, the multiple tight ends, it's got to be so frustrating for him to try to bring these babies along, the young wideouts.
Yep. Well, they led the NFL in virtually every major offensive category last year. That's not the case tonight. 2nd down and 8. Smith again. Pump fakes, and now he wants to go deep. Throwing out for Hill, and he got it. Wow. Stephen Hill made the catch in traffic.
Dennard even grabbed his jersey, which they didn't see, and Hill made a nice adjustment on the football. Big fella, 6'4", 215 pounds, runs 4.35. Dennard's tiny. Now look at him grab the jersey right there. It's not called. The adjustment on the football, stays in bounds. Good job finally by Stephen Hill. Here's good pass protection. Howard buries Ninkovich. Howard, 6'7", 333, a project from Northern Iowa.
Now an empty backfield for Geno Smith on a 1st and 10 at the 32 of the Patriots. Fires a slant in and out of the hands. That time, Clyde Gates thrown a little bit behind him.
Little pick play there. Gates was open. That ball's got to be thrown on the other shoulder. That's an inaccurate throw by Geno to a wide open receiver.
You see him covering his helmet to try to hear the call from Marty Mornhinweg. Before that last 15 seconds, he's talking to his quarterback. The bad news is the quarterbacks can't talk back.
Depending how you feel about that, it might be good news.
It might be good news.
Right.
Huge time of possession advantage in the Jets' favor, but they still trail by 3. And it's Powell, quick opening draw. Nice run down to the 26-yard line. Pickup of 6 more.
Again, Vladimir Dukas stayed on Vince Wilfork for a good 3 seconds, and Mangold got out to the second level. Really well done.
Right now, Nick Folk, they're in his range to try to tie the game up. They'd rather pick up the 3rd and 4 and keep the drive going.
I asked Ben Kotwika, the special teams coach, what's Folk's distance on a normal night, no wind? He said a max of about 53 or 4.
Not a normal night.
Exactly.
Santonio Holmes in motion. Smith, he's going to scramble around to buy himself some time, and tipped and intercepted. Picked off by Aqib Talib, and there's the first mistake, and that ball should have never been thrown.
You know, this is an opportunity for Geno to make a play. And he got outside the pocket. Santonio Holmes drifted across the field. Watch him get outside the pocket, and Santonio's going to cross the field. Now, he's got a chance to make a play, and he throws it behind him. That's 2 consecutive throws behind. Arrington makes the tip, and Talib finishes it. But if you put it out ahead, you got a shot at making a play.
But what you don't want to do is turn it over when you're in field goal range.
Exactly right, Ness. And if he runs it and takes the conservative play, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. Right. But if you're going to make that, let's put it this way, Brad. If you're going to make a mistake, which side are you going to make it on? The front side, not the back side.
Exactly. And the injured player is Arrington, who broke that pass up, and he's still down around the 10-yard line. But Aqib Talib, since he's been acquired by the Patriots, it's his 20th career interception. Had a couple last year. Mike talked about this earlier. Last week, -1. They're normally on the plus side, and they are tonight.
And that's how they beat you. They take care of the football better than any team in the league, and they take it away from you. And I think they're +70 in the last 3 years, just to show that it's not a one-time thing.
So what looked like at least an attempt to tie the game has put it back in the hands of a future Hall of Fame quarterback with 11:13 remaining and a 3-point lead. Patriots 12 plays in the second half, 22 yards.
Louis, all right.
Last year, they averaged 35 a game. A game and most of another one, and they don't have much more than that now. And here's Edelman. Another 7-yard pickup. And that's going to be his 9th catch of the night.
And LeGarrette Blount this time protected his quarterback. And when I talk to the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings around the league, the first thing they say about pass protection is they want a halfback they can trust, who A, understands protection, and B, will put his body out there to help him.
Brady. Kind of a jump pass intended for Garrett Blount as he got some pressure in the pocket that time.
And Garrett McIntyre came off the slot. And they got a little bit up the field pressure from Sheldon Richardson, who again, he and Muhammad Wilkerson. Richardson and Wilkerson are just really 91 and 96. Those two guys right there, they're going to play a lot of years at a high level in this league.
Diamond!
2 for 13 on third down conversions. Brady over the middle. They convert that one. And that time, Dotson does hold on. That's a big play there.
good timing because Muhammad Wilkerson got an edge that time and had some pressure on Brady immediately, but Dobson comes underneath. He puts it on that big body, move the chains.
By the way, a couple of completions ago, Brady passed Drew Bledsoe on the all-time completion list in NFL history, the number 7 spot. Ironically enough, if Drew Bledsoe would have never gotten hurt, we might not have been seeing him for the last 14 years playing quarterback.
Come on, that's like my brother saying if he didn't get hurt, Doug Flutie would have never played.
Blunt got a couple. And a little after the play activities. Mankins. David Harris was telling us, the middle linebacker for the Jets yesterday, says he's the toughest cat I have to play against as far as an offensive guard, because he says he's just so nasty. And that's the guy you have to be in that position.
It's an interesting story how they ended up drafting him late in the first round.
Yeah.
Brady on a 2nd and 8 has plenty of time. Fires to the sideline, and what a catch by Edelman again. There's number 10, so he is in double figures. Danny Amendola had 10 last week, and that helped the cause. He's out tonight with a groin injury, so this guy's taking that spot, and he's making the most of it.
And they were they wanted to double team him there. 95 Antoine Barnes, the outside linebacker, dropped off. Antonio Allen, who's I think a better hitter than he is a cover guy. And if you can get into this Jets secondary and compete with the safeties, you're going to win a lot.
Edelman ties a career high with that 10th catch, but it's still 3rd down and 3. Pressure coming from the secondary. Brady. Incomplete. Intended for Tompkins. And they got some late pressure, and Tom, for one time, got a little bit happy-footed back there and had to throw over the middle way short.
I think he threw it short on purpose. In all honesty, I think he threw that away because there's nobody open, and there was a defensive back driving on that route.
Ryan Allen, this is a 17th punt tonight between the two teams.
Let him go.
Kyle Wilson takes a shot from the 18-yard line and stopped immediately. Nice job on the special teams. Only a 3-yard return, and Matthew Slater made the stop on special teams. Still 8.5 minutes to go. Still anybody's ball game. 13-10 here in Foxborough. 8:29 remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Patriots clinging to a 3-point lead. And Mike, last week, 16 games played, 8 teams that trailed in the 4th quarter won ball games. Just a little note for you. Little draw play to Powell, and he does some good power running on the inside.
And 8 teams, actually, obviously 16 teams lose a ball game last week, right? And an interesting statistic, and coaches talk about this all the time. If you start 0-2 in the NFL,
right,
since 1990, where they went to 6 teams make the playoffs from each conference, you've got a 12% chance of making the playoffs when you start 0-2.
So people like the Falcons and the Redskins and the Vikings, teams that were playoff teams, the Colts last year, they have to keep that in mind for Sunday. Geno Smith rolling to throw. And finally does, and it should have been caught by Stephen Hill. Incomplete.
Stephen Hill gave up a fumble that was converted later on into points by the Patriots early in the game. Another drop here.
It's frustrating the coaches. It's frustrating the quarterbacks. Quite frankly, it's frustrating me.
I'm with you.
Jets having trouble getting first downs as well. And they need 5 more to move the sticks here.
This is where they miss Jeremy Curley, their slot receiver, is probably the craftiest receiver on their team, especially inside.
He's out with a concussion.
Third and 5 becomes 3rd and 10.
So 3rd and 10.
Completely different playbook now. Yep. I think this is where Geno's got to be aware of A, turnovers, but B, if he has an opportunity to get out of the pocket with his legs, he's got to take it.
You just saw a shot of both coaches, and Geno Smith, with a smile on his face, told us last night, I know Coach Belichick is going to show me some things I've never seen before, like maybe right here. 3rd down and 10. Throws in and out of the hands of Powell, thrown a little bit behind him, and he couldn't hold it because Steve Gregory let him have it while he was trying to find the handle.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo kind of got caught up trying to contact Winslow, and as a result, he was late getting over to the crosser. Ball's thrown behind, and we have another drop. I know it's wet, but they were dropping him in the first half when it was dry.
Brady warming up on the sideline as Robert Malone will punt again. And Julian Edelman waits on the other end. And he's been sneaking around, getting 10, 12, 13 yards on returns. If he does that here, they're going to have excellent field position. He's got to run to get this one to the 38. Going the other way. A 45 to 50 in midfield into Jets territory. There's 15 more on the punt return.
Really nice cut, getting vertical when I didn't think he had a thing.
So there's a big night for Edelman as a receiver and as a return man. And when we return, there's going to be 7:27 remaining in the Patriots in Jets territory. Back in Foxborough, the Patriots have a short field at the 48-yard line of the Jets. Last year, they led the entire NFL in scores on a short field. Tonight, they have a field goal and a missed field goal when they've been on the opponent's side of the 50, and they're back on the other side of the 50 now, or almost a loss of a yard.
It's kind of tough sledding against that Jets front. You know, Demario Davis came downhill, took on Devlin, the fullback. Snacks was in the middle of it again.
Rex Ryan said these guys are going to grow up together and they could play as a front together for 10 years and be a dominant defense when they all figure it out.
52.
2nd down and 11. Edelman in motion. Brady looking his way, throwing his way, completing it his way. Down to the 43-yard line. Still, it's going to be 3rd down again.
Yeah, Kyle Wilson was frustrated, laid off him a little bit.
Well, it's not like Edelman's getting big yardage, but he's getting big numbers as far as catches.
They've targeted him 16 times today with 11 receptions. By juxtaposition, Dobson and Tompkins, 16 targets, 5 catches.
Brady on 3rd down. Going to go deep on the near sideline for Dobson. And he's in a hand fight back there with Darren Walls, and Walls won that one.
You know, Walls was impressive in training camp, and this is a team that typically plays 6 or 7 defensive backs, but they've only been playing 4 or 5 this year. Walls is a good special teams player who's starting to come on and compete for playing time at corner, and I like the way he elevated up against Dobson, who's taller than him. But Walls is long.
Nice position.
Yeah, he's a 6-foot corner, and he's smart.
Ryan Allen, his 10th punt of the night. Wilson just gets out of the way and lets it go in the end zone. So we continue with the 1-2-3 kick. It's like the Rockettes tonight between the Patriots and the Jets. 6:07 to go. These two teams playing for the 109th time. And the Patriots have won 4 straight.
Mentioned Vlad Dukas against Wilfork tonight. 6'5", 3 1/4. Dukas has more than held his own. I love this play right here. Fights to get his hips turned around. Again, get some help there on the double team to complete a deep pass. Kid's really had a good night against Wilfork.
6 minutes left. Geno Smith, long throw, and he completed it to Clyde Gates. Had a little wobble on it, but Gates hung with it. A little bit short of the 1st down.
Every time I say Marty ought to throw or run the football, he just comes around and they just keep ripping it.
The Jets, remember, only have 1 timeout remaining. 2nd down and 2. High backfield now with Powell, the tailback behind Bohannon. he's going to get the carry and takes it outside and got a first down and more. Nice run to the outside by Powell. D'Brickashaw Ferguson threw him a nice block.
That's a good call, partner. Right here. And that's the key. Watch D'Brickashaw get on Chandler Jones. Jerod Mayo comes inside for his gap responsibility. Jones has to stay outside. D'Brickashaw wins that battle, and the Jets get a first down.
Former #1 pick out of Virginia, and he's played every game since. 1st and 10 at the 40. Smith, quick short drop, and the throw, and a ball that should have been caught that time. Same kind of pattern by Clyde Gates. Not the same result this time.
I don't even know what to say about drops at this point. I'm out of adjectives. Not that I start with a whole lot. I understand that, but I'm out.
I liked your line about it was dry in the first half, and they were still dropping them. Bohannon now will be the right-hand man for Geno Smith here in the shotgun. And actually, he gets the call, and Bohannon blasts his way up across the 45 to the 46. Jerod Mayo takes him down there. He's a load.
Bohannon is a load, 247 pounds. Had no rushes a week ago, but 1 reception for 21. And Jerod Mayo, classic tackle right there, form tackle.
Under 5 minutes. The Jets put together a drive in about 34 seconds against Tampa Bay last week to get a Nick Folk field goal to win. Field goal here would tie it. But they have to keep the drive going on 3rd down and 4. They're going to go deep over the middle, and that one's intercepted. Second interception of the night. And this one's Alfonso Denard.
You know, they don't have any safety help, and he's got a chance to make a play. This ball's got to be thrown down the field. Okay, this safety is not going to be a factor, and the receiver gets inside and stacks them. All Geno's got to do is throw it up top. Nobody can get there. He throws it behind, and Denard makes the play. Will Fork with good pressure. All he's got to do, because the receiver has the corner stacked, is throw it right over the top of his helmet.
Denard, who had 3 interceptions last year, has his first one of the season here to give it back to Brady in the offense.
That was about the 3rd vertical that I think Geno's missed tonight, where he had an opportunity. And I like what he's done, but I think he's missed 3 verticals tonight. Changing the play.
Looking at the clock and directing traffic and getting Aaron Dobson a little closer on that left side, which is where they're going to run. And Ridley broke a tackle and got out across the 35.
Yeah, Wendell and Logan Mankins do a heck of a job on the front side of that zone play, and Ridley did a nice job cutting it back. And Brad, nasty weather tonight. What's the one thing Ridley's done? Taking care of the football.
Yeah.
Right?
We talked about every time it seemed that he fumbled, he didn't touch the ball again in that particular game. And tonight he's had to be the guy with Shane Vereen out, an injured reserve. And he's done a good job of it tonight, holding on to the ball. 2nd down and 5. They fake it to him. They come back to Edelman on the other side, and the Jets do a nice job of keeping him from getting any gain. Antonio Allen hit him first, and then he got help from the linebackers. And we have a Jet player down. Slow to get up is Sheldon Richardson, their #1 draft choice out of Missouri. And now the fans are booing, thinking that Richardson maybe isn't hurt. We hear that around every stadium now, don't we?
Sure do.
NFL Total Access has a new look and a new time with a unique perspective into all things NFL. NFL Total Access, now at 8 Eastern, is tomorrow live right here on NFL Network. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots don't need any more points. They just need first downs. And remember, the Jets only have 1 timeout remaining. But this is the biggest 3rd down for either team on the night right here. And the Patriots are only 3 out of 16 on their 3rd down conversions.
Now, if number 11's in that huddle, which he is, do you think you might want to double him here, right? No matter where he is, and they're probably going to bring him in motion now. From the top of the screen, he probably comes in motion that way.
And if they leave him where he is, there he comes.
Now they're going to stack him and look for a pick.
3rd and 5, Brady. And there's number 11, first down.
You know, we get the crack motion. Now they're going to stack him and bring him under. The linebacker who tries to wall him off does a poor job. David Harris, who's an 8-year veteran and a good football player, knows better than that. He's got to get on the underneath shoulder and force Edelman over top of him. He can't let him cross in front and get that first down.
I'm 1 reception off my prediction that Edelman would catch 14 balls tonight.
That's right.
You got 52. Yeah. What they need? What they got?
And now they can go back to the ground game to try to chew up some clock.
And this is the point in the game where the offense is obviously trying to chew the clock and run the football. The defense is bringing run blitzes to
The Jets
counter.
are going to take their final timeout right here and
Okay.
try to use the 2-minute warning the next time around. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. And again, with no timeouts remaining, the Patriots don't need points. They just need yards and first downs, and they will have another close victory, which would be a 3-pointer. Darrelle Revis now with the Tampa Bay Bucks, a former New York Jet, where he was a sensational lockdown corner. Still is, but he had to go through a lot to get back on the field after his devastating injury. Darrelle Revis, Football Life, Tuesday night at 9, only on NFL Network. Should be good.
You know, NFL Films does an unbelievable job producing those football lives. The production value and the stories are wonderful.
You see stuff that you just don't normally see. Jets offense on one side, Patriots defense on the other side. And now it's the all-pro quarterback, and Ridley almost fumbled that one. Couldn't find the handle and finally did. That would have been devastating.
Oh, boy.
The 2-minute warning is at hand. Patriots clinging to a 3-point lead. They avoided a disaster right there. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. And by Craftsman. Speaking of Craftsman, a man that's excellent at his craft, Rich Eisen down in the end zone.
Thank you very much, Brad. Mike, coming up on the post-game show, the star of the game, and we get you set for the rest of week number 2. Pretty big 3rd down right here.
It is 3rd down and long, trying to bounce it outside, and the Jets aren't going to give up. But the clock is their ally.
And Brad, I think that was a pretty telling play call by the Patriots. 3rd and 10. Keep the clock moving. Well, they got another injury, and the fans are really going to go nuts now.
This one's Muhammad Wilkerson.
Now, I'm going to tell you the last one, there was an injury there, and I saw what happened on the replay. This one the fans are really upset about.
Of course, Jerry Jones made it clear that he thought the Giants were faking injuries last week to try to slow down the Cowboys. We've seen this with hurry-up offenses and tempo offenses at times in both the college and the pro ranks. This looks like Wilkerson's cramped up to me, but the fans obviously are seeing it differently. At any rate, we're going to have a punt coming up and from the Patriots. But the Jets are out of timeouts.
It could be a runoff.
Yes. 10-second runoff. Don't forget, next Thursday night, hope you join us. Chiefs and the Eagles. Should be fun. Both off to good starts. Eagles with their win over the Redskins, and the Chiefs are 1-0 under new coach Andy Reid and former Eagle coach for about 14 years, Andy Reid.
You know, I'm not a big fan of this booing. And effectively, it's not going to do the Jets any good anyway. They're going to wind the clock when it's ready for play, and I just don't think it's anything we need to do as fans if this kid really is hurt.
So So the Patriots should be able to take the clock down to about, I don't know, minute 8 maybe. Right in there. Back to the field we go. Brian Allen will take his time.
Yep. This is what I mean. They were going to wind the clock. The Patriots can run it down just like they could have had the clock continued to go.
They in fact can take it all the way down and take a penalty if they so choose.
Yep.
But that would only save them a second or so. And again, Jets have nobody back for the third time tonight in punt return formation. And clock goes down to 00.
A 30-second timeout.
And New England takes one of its 2 remaining timeouts.
Now, Brad, here's the plus side to winning a sloppy game like this if New England holds on, okay, is it was frustrating for Bill Belichick. It was frustrating for their entire offensive team. They dropped a lot of footballs. That guy had a difficult night, but you're getting these young kids touches and reps, live reps. And as this season progresses, if they win tonight, they're 2-0, and both wins came in the division.
Right.
Not pretty, but they don't give you style points.
And it would be 12 straight in the division, which is pretty impressive. That's hard to do.
And if you can win while you're transitioning into a younger group of wide receivers, by the time they get this thing to the end of the season, it's going to be a different look.
You'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. And again, he's put a couple inside the 20 tonight. This one's going to bounce back in the favor of the Jets, actually, for about 7 or 8 yards. So, rookie quarterback has 56 seconds to work. He only had 34 seconds to work with last week against Tampa Bay. And with a late hit after a scramble, set up Nick Folk for a 48-yard game winner with 2 seconds remaining. They got a lot of ground to cover here, but it's not terrible field position by any stretch.
Yeah, I don't know what Levante David was thinking about last week.
Geno Smith in the gun and under the gun. Flushed out of the pocket, much like last week. And throws and hit his receiver, who actually had slipped, and it was Santonio Holmes.
That's pretty good accuracy.
It sure was.
You could hit the guy lying on the ground. It's like throwing it through the tire.
Holmes thinking that he was interfered with.
Holmes on a cross route. Arrington following him the whole way. That's just and it does hit him, and it's inadvertent feet. That's not pass interference when the feet catch up like that and somebody trips.
Second and 10 with 48 seconds to go. Smith fires far sideline. Third interception of the night, and this one will ice it. And it's the second of the night for Aqib Talib. And that'll be the ball game.
And the biggest criticism I have on Geno tonight, and again, I thought it was a solid effort, but I think he missed 3 verticals. I think he underthrew a bunch of balls today. And you know what? You know what? There's a fight over there. I'm guessing because they took Nick Mangold tackled Talib out of bounds.
There's flags all over. There's players all over. There's officials trying to separate them.
I'll tell you one thing. I thought Talib should have got out of bounds right away. He kept dancing down the sideline, and Mangold went and hit him right around his knees. And I think that's what sparked it, Brad.
And we know about knee issues after Ndamukong Suh on John Sullivan this week. And they finally got the white jerseys separated from the blue jerseys for the most part.
Yeah, let's see if that's what happened. I'm pretty sure. I thought Aqib should have got out of bounds. And I think it's Mangold that takes a shot at him on the sideline.
Meanwhile, 2 interceptions on the night. Here's the end of the play. Well, actually, the entire play.
Okay, now, once Talib has this, and there's no tackle there. Just run out of bounds. But look, he kind of dances and then steps back, and Mangold comes and hits him. Now, when that happens on the Patriots sidelines, people don't like that. Okay, now get out of bounds. Okay, Mangold's late, and I don't like the hit at all. But I think they're both wrong. Talib shouldn't have danced on the sideline, and Mangold shouldn't have hit him.
And then the Patriots come to their cornerback's defense.
Yep.
And then the flags start flying, the officials start flying, and the bodies start flying.
Yep.
So what was a sloppy game is going to have a messy ending here.
That's well said, partner.
There are multiple fouls by the passing team on the play. Personal foul for a late hit out of bounds, number 74. That penalty will be enforced. And then a foul against an official, number 66 of that team. He is ejected. And number 60 for throwing a punch is also ejected.
Wow. So they had a couple players thrown out of the game here in the final 38 seconds.
Willie Colon and DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Yeah. And so they can head to the locker room 38 seconds early. There's DeBrickashaw. And there's a punch. And then the officials again try to separate everybody, and you don't push an official. And wherever that happened in that mess, it's hard to tell, but
so that will be reviewed by the league office.
Yep.
There's no automatic suspension for future games if you get thrown out of this one, but it will be reviewed.
And Nick Mangold might be looking at losing some of whatever he has in his wallet. Meanwhile,
ending it
after they walk off all these penalties, all Tom Brady has to do is take a knee. And it will not be his prettiest night of his career, but I can tell you that he would take a win over statistics every day of every week. And Bill Belichick says, let's get out of here, or something to that effect.
Loosely translated, I think that was what he said.
It's about the best I could do. Don't forget, hang around for the Total Access post-game show. Rich and the guys will have insights and highlights and analysis and interviews. Aqib Talib, I got to think, is one of the guys maybe that'll be up there on the stage with him. And we'll have the press conferences as well, so stick around with us after the game.
And I think he wants the players off the field that got thrown out of the game. Players can't stay on the bench when they're ejected, regardless of how much time's left in the game.
And now they are heading, as Rex Ryan just went over and told both his offensive linemen, you got to get out of here.
Told him put the helmet on too in case anything gets thrown at you on the way out the tunnel, right?
And he's got to cross that end zone.
Yep.
On his way to the locker room.
The football version of the walk of shame.
Have we not had about everything tonight?
Too much.
And likewise, DeBrickashaw Ferguson heads up the tunnel. And now Bill Belichick says, let's go out and take a knee, and then let's get out of here. And they'll be 2-0.
Yep.
And their dominance of their division continues. What will be their 12th straight win in the division.
UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. It's ugly, but you're 2-0, baby.
That's right. And you see the AFC East records. They got 50 more wins than anybody.
Protect yourself.
And Tom Brady on a night that was not Tom Brady-like. And Bill Belichick says, you know what? We're going to take it.
Hey,
that's win number 207 of his career.
That's a heck of a win, Brad, right? With all those people gone.
No doubt. And a very quick handshake out near midfield. The Patriots survive another one. After winning by 2 a week ago, they win by 3 tonight and had to cling to that lead all the way through. And a tough night for Geno Smith, who threw 3 interceptions for the Jets. That's going to do it. Final score 13-10. We'll be back in a minute with a Total Access postgame show, highlights, analysis, interviews, and press conferences with Rich and the guys, so stick around.